You're starting to stream now over on Twitch. Come join us on Twitch. Username is Madeline Pendleton. We talk about politics, and you can ask questions, and we talk about the news, and we go through the news from a left-wing perspective. So it's Madeline Pendleton there without the underscore. You see a lot of videos debunking my North Korea videos. Have I seen them? No, because usually I block those people because they're fucking weirdos. But I always tell people, if you see something and you're curious, you see a claim I've made that you think somebody debunked, or you see a source they're using, you can let me know and I'll talk to you about that item. But nobody ever can. Nobody ever tells me what they think. Hi, everybody on Twitch. I'm still doing this. Sorry, we're getting people over there. Nobody can ever tell me what claim they think they saw that was debunked. Nobody ever gives details or anything. So I really don't know what to do with that. You know? Dalai Lama, yes, was CIA. Was on the CIA payroll. Yeah. Otto Warmbier, yeah. And I've never said, and I will tell you, look, I haven't seen Danny's video because I blocked Danny like 5 years ago because that's a crazy person. But I will tell you that if Danny, I don't know if she said this or not. Did she say that he was tortured? Did she say that? Because if she said that, oh my God, good morning, hydrating. I'm hydrating. Hi. Look, I added the chat. So now when I upload it later to YouTube and stuff, you can see the chat. No, she didn't say that. She didn't say that he was like mistreated or anything like that. I don't know. I haven't seen her videos. 121. Okay, great. Yay. I'm mad scene. I don't know what she said, basically, but I had people telling me, coming from her videos, telling me that he was tortured, and I posted screenshots of his doctors, his American doctors, being like, no, there was no sign of torture or mistreatment or anything about his teeth or broken bones, nothing. So people coming from her videos said that on mine, so I assumed she must have said something about it, but I could have been wrong. I did not see the Dalai Lama mentioned over 100 times. I hate the Dalai Lama. All the homies hate the Dalai Lama. Emily isn't there to play. Great first time chat. Hi, welcome. Yeah, they say it because Donald Trump said it. Donald Trump literally just got on a microphone after Otto and just started saying shit that wasn't true. And then Otto Warmbier's doctors had to come out and be like, we don't know why he said that. That's not true. Fucking weird. Weird. Yeah, Donald Trump was a fucking creep. Hamburger. Is it Angel? It's Angel, right? Yeah. Super cool. We only broke up, but she felt like she wasn't good enough for you? Very, very interesting. I usually find if somebody tells you they think they're not good enough for you, that means they did something really bad and they don't want to tell you. So I would say if you want to try to get back together with her, open up a place where you can be like, you know, I love you. Like, if you did something that you feel like makes you a bad person, like, let's just talk about it. Because what if it's something I don't even fucking think's that bad, dude? What if it's something that's not a big deal to me or it's something we can figure out? So that's what I would say to do. Yeah, TLDR, Dalai Lama bad. Yes. We don't do subscriptions anymore. No, I cut out the subscriptions at work because they were too hard to administer. I do have, though, on the way, the last 5 months of the jewelry subscription. That tells you how hard it was to administer, right? They're in shipment now to us. So if you had a subscription from August through December, I cut them off in December because I was like, this is getting out of hand. It's just too hard to try to manage. You'll get them all at once. You'll get all 5 at once. And they're cute. Yeah, you guys here, go over to Twitch. It's Madeline Pendleton there. Yes, I play video games, but that's not what we do on Twitch. Over on Twitch, we talk politics. Buff work. And we're going to talk about the topics. So I'm going to hang up here. Go join us on Twitch. Twitch is way more fun. And we look at data. We look at resources. It's way more educational because you don't have to deal with fucking weird bullshit cropped green screen thing that doesn't work, okay? And then sometimes Fork makes an appearance, and we love that. So, you guys, yes, I'm pretty sure that politics thing is correct, but I'm not entirely sure. No, it's not just the politics thing. It's the, what is it? Politically incorrect or whatever. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm hanging up. Okay. Bye. Okay. Hi. Hello. Hi, everybody. It's just us. The weirdos are gone. Wearing the slutty top brought some new people. I think that's the move. I think on TikTok Live, I need to just wear bikinis. And then people will come here and then we talk to them about Marxism. Because I think that worked. Sex sales, baby, let's go. Weirdos, yes. Yes. Come to me, weirdos. Come to me. Peace and Freedom versus PSL in Cali, you don't have to choose. Peace and Freedom does only electoral work. And so they run candidates from a whole bunch of different platforms and parties, and PSL is one of them. So for Vote Socialist, I end up dealing with PSL people a lot, and if people talk shit about them, I don't know why. I like them. They're great. I love FRSO also. They're great. They're both great. So, you know, it is what it is. Okay, Bikini Stream, the horny lumpen chatters to communist education. That's the future. That's the future. And the reason why people don't like PSL isn't because they're evil or anything. It's usually just that I think PSL is really good at converting liberals. I think that's their strong suit. They know how to talk to liberals. They know how to message to liberals. They know how to bring liberals from the dark side. They're really good at that. So I think that bothers a lot of people sometimes, right? But I think they're a good Marxist-Leninist org, and that's their power. And I respect it. They converted you. See? They're really good at it. You know? Okay, British politics. Oh, you are a car. Oh my God. Yes. You have to share it with the chat when we're done. Oh, when you're done. Yes. Wait, is Virgo in the chat right now? Virgo, are you here? I'm trying to get Virgo to tell us. Virgo might be on honeymoon. I'm trying to get Virgo to tell us if there's a registry so we can buy a wedding gift. Virgo's off today. Okay. Got it. Okay. Trying to get that registry. Trying to give Virgo a wedding gift. Ah, thank you for the gifted sub. Yay. Okay. Post it on the TikTok. Okay, I'll look after. Yes. Oh, you found a local Marxist community center. Yes. We're out here. I'm telling you. There's more of us than you think. If you live in an area and you want to find an org, we're out here. We're in the orgs. We're around. That's okay. We'll still find a way to get Virgo a gift with my first month's payouts from Twitch. We will do it. That'll be great. Okay, so hopefully my boobs don't come out on Twitch today. All right, how many people do we have right now? What's our head count? Pet grief. Oh, Evie baby, I'm so sorry to hear that. Okay, here's what helped me. Obviously, I lost Modog. I don't know, some of you guys might know. I had a dachshund for 16 years who was like, people always joke, they were like, that wasn't your dog, that was your sibling, right? Modog was like my arm. Like anywhere I went, Modog was. We had a very, 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 very deep bond. Modog used to come to school with me, used to come to work with me. Like Modog came everywhere with me. And when Modog died, it was devastating to me. And the thing that helped me to remember is like, look, the dog was going to exist out in the world, whether you knew it or not. Your pet, whatever. For you, it might not be a dog. Oh yeah, puppy, yeah. The dog was going to exist. First of all, thank God you got to meet it, right? Like I always think that, like, oh, thank God I found Modog. That's so cool that I was the one that found Modog and was like, oh, this dog needs a home. Like, yeah, this is my dog. That's so cool that you had the opportunity to be the person who connected with your dog. And then second, like your dog's life was going to be what it was, right? Dogs have a set lifespan. You can affect it a little bit. You can try to keep them safe. 19 years old, you obviously did an awesome job prolonging your dog's life. That is so cool. But it's not like, I don't know. They were going to live as long as they were going to live no matter what, unless, you know, you were able to advance it a little bit, prolong it a little bit. And all you can do is really be happy that you got to spend that time that they were going to exist on this planet with them. And I don't know why thinking about it that way really helped me. Like rather than thinking about Modog as an extension of my arm, like I'm losing myself, I thought about Modog's autonomy as a creature out in the world. Like Modog was going to be out there for probably around 16 years unless something really bad happened to her somewhere else. That was her little lifespan. That's what she had going on. Thank God I got to be the one to spend that with her. And for some reason, that helped me with the grief. I don't know if that'll work on you, but that did work on me for some weird reason. I know. Power of the boobs. My boobs keep almost falling out of my shirt today. I don't know. We have 216. It's the boobs. It's the boobs. You're so right. It's the boobs. Okay. Yeah. And, you know, I got a Modog shrine over here. Like, I'll pick up my computer. It might be loud for a second. Sorry. Do you see, guys? I have a Modog shrine right next to Malcolm X. It's Malcolm X and Modog. Oh, shit. This way. That's her. I miss that dog every day. You know. So, yeah. That's what's up. Okay. The boob stream. All right, guys, let's get into it. So for those of you who are new, what we do over here on Twitch is, I call it double down on the news. We take a look at the news, we see what's going on, we pull up a story. We aim to do a domestic and an international. We don't usually make it to both, but sometimes we do. And we take a look at how the media is reporting on something. We talk about the historical context for it. We do a little commentary, and we keep it all from a left-wing perspective. We try to figure out what's propaganda, what they're kind of spinning, what the reality is, and we try to learn from it and go together. I'm going to take a second to plug in my microphone because you guys said that was way better sound quality last time. So let's do that. Ooh, we got a hype train. Mega consume emote. Eating. Okay. Does this sound good? No, I didn't get the USB hub yet. I need to. I was quarantining for a week because my partner got sick. So I was like, I'm not going to leave the house for a week. Because my fancy tests, they're sold out until the middle of February, they said. So I was like, to be extra safe, you know, I'm going to quarantine. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you. Yay, oh my God, so nice. We have a really good gifting community here of the subs. We really do. Everybody's super nice. I don't do the Lucira. I do the Metrics NAT tests, NAAT. They're molecular tests. So they're like 100% accurate, basically. 99.99%. Oh yeah? What if I have the microphone in it? All right, I feel like that's something. I feel like that's Twitch. All right. So does anybody have anything they saw in the news that they would like to submit for today? Because I've got this pulled up here. I'm going to become an e-girl streamer. Yes. Yeah, he's phallic, right? We're leaning into it. Anything to educate the masses. All right. This is interesting to me. Hot mess. Former Trump cyber leader slams DHS leadership void. We could also take a look at what's been revealed in the Epstein files. Does anybody... The files. Everyone wants to talk about the files. We also have something about RFK and vaccines. The files. Epstein files for sure. Okay. But look, RFK Jr. is now a wellness guru for Republicans in Washington. All right, what do we got? Trump aims to topple Cuba's communist regime by the end of the year. I'm gonna fucking cry again if we do this. Jesus fucking Christ, man. I hate this. I hate this because I think it's gonna happen. Like, Cuba is... Cuba does not have the means to defend itself, I don't think, unfortunately. And that breaks my heart. And I think the only people who would have stood up for Cuba are Russia. But I think because of Russia being in negotiations over Ukraine with the United States, probably be part of the negotiation process, is that Russia will go hands off on our foreign policy agenda, which is very, very unfortunate. It's very, very upsetting. I don't think China is going to get involved. China has a very, military hands-off approach. They're trying to avoid war. China's always trying to avoid war. So that's pretty interesting. And let's see what's going on with Epstein files in the news. Maybe we can look at most interesting finds from the Epstein files. See if anybody else has done some reporting. What have we learned? Massive trove. Vanity Fair, 11 disgusting things. The 9 most shocking revelations. That's from November. These are from November and December. I don't know if that's really what we want. The 4chan Epstein. Okay, let's see. Odyssey, Neiman Lab. I don't know how reliable these sources are going to be. So, okay. All right. We will take a look. Leopold's Ghost, Texas littered with anti-communist tidbits. The author mentions the USSR killing 22 million people. What? Blatant propaganda. Can we talk about how to deal with that, or if chat has any thoughts? Yeah, I mean, look, I consume a lot of media that I know is anti-communist propaganda. Most media I consume is anti-communist propaganda because I'm an American, because I have access to Western media. And so much of our media focus has been about that, right? So I think that's something we really have to deal with a lot. And I think it's just good to be aware of, unfortunately. I'm not sure how much you can change it. Oh. Is this better sound quality, you guys? No? Okay, we'll talk about the Epstein files. Let's just do that. I'll save my beloved articles for later. Oh, I got locked out anyway. I have to log in to let it go. I don't want to. All right. Yes. Okay. We'll talk about the files, the Epstein files. So everybody knows that the Epstein files have been getting slowly released over time. We got a new data dump recently of many of them. It feels a bit malicious compliance. There's millions of pages to sift through. And the Department of Justice has actually uploaded a web portal where you can search by keyword and look at the files. The thing is that a lot of the data dump is just the Gmail records from Jeffrey Epstein's Gmail account. And that means that there's a lot of duplicate information, because if you're familiar with how Gmail does threads, it threads messages together. So the same messages appear over and over and over and over again. Every time somebody replies, things come up multiple times. So that's a bit annoying to sift through. There's also, Jeffrey Epstein was subscribed to a number of news sites that sent daily briefings. So a lot of times you're searching for something and it's not actually anything that he's talking about. It's just an email he received with like news, like, like an RSS feed almost of like news drops, or like Reuters top headlines, blah, blah, blah. So that's additionally challenging. So the pages are a lot to sift through, and it's very, very difficult to do so. A story we were looking at recently was for three brothers who were also indicted in a sex crime case. And they were talking about how they didn't have enough manpower legally in New York to handle the case, because everybody legally who was qualified basically in New York was focused on trying to censor the Epstein files for release. And when they talked about censoring them, it was to remove victim information. So sometimes when you're looking through the files, you'll see whole pages blocked out because they're photos that have victims in them. So this is also something that needed to occur before the stuff could be released. They needed to have victims' information redacted. Those three men also turn up, not coincidentally, in the Epstein files as well. They're also indicted in the same things. So what has been released in the Epstein files is not just that Gmail account, but that is most of what you're going to find when you look through, which does make it hard. You're digging through data slop, right? Other things that were released, though, are FBI records. There are spreadsheets that are working files for, it looks like, law enforcement working through the claims they received about Jeffrey Epstein. They received a number of complaints, a number of people who were like, yes, I was victimized by Jeffrey Epstein. Yes, I went to the island. Yes, this happened. Some of them are legitimate. Some of them are people who just show up out of the woodwork when a story hits the news and they want to be part of it and they want attention and they're making things up, which isn't like a believe victim situation. This is just like a psychological phenomenon that happens in any kind of law enforcement case that gets high profile. You'll see this sometimes if you're a person who follows this at all. I'm very interested in how weird true crime is, the effect it has on society. This happens a lot when people get murdered. A bunch of people will show up claiming like, I saw them. I was the last person to see them, actually. I saw them go here. I saw them over here. I saw that van, or I'm a psychic. I actually know where they are right now. I woke up with a dream and they were talking to me in the dream. And this stuff is not very reliable. It's just a phenomenon that happens. People want to get involved. So they have to sort through that stuff to try to find the credible complaints in the text. And you can look at their working spreadsheets and see where they're like, this person, their claim is credible. It matches up with other people's claims. We're able to match it to a timeline of events that we have photos of, that we have evidence of. We know they were in this location on this date. This person says they were there as well. This is credible. Some, they're like, we actually have evidence. There's no way this is possible because we know Jeffrey Epstein was in this totally different place when this was happening. So we have to throw that out. So I have seen Norman Finkelstein's response to the Epstein emails is really, really good. And I'll talk about that in a second. So a lot of the things that I've seen people talking about that are super, super sensational, a lot of that is from people whose claims were not found to be credible. They were found to be people who just wanted to get involved. And I think it's really important that we separate that stuff out. So if you look through the Epstein emails or the Epstein files and you find these spreadsheets of the complaints, make sure you're looking at the column where the authorities put in their notes to say if they thought this was a credible claim or not. Because many of them they thought were not credible for very real reasons. You look at it and you're like, this is not credible. They were correct. So make sure you're not just repeating engagement slop, right? Because it is super engaging, the fake stories. There's enough real stuff. There's enough real stuff. We don't have to make up fake stuff and muddy the waters with it, right? Yes, Elon Musk's daughter, Vivian, corroborated some emails. Exactly. I think that was on Threads she did that, if I remember correctly. So. Oh, 5. Oh! Was it the number 4? Oh, okay, I give up. So a lot of this info has been corroborated by a number of people. Some of it hasn't, you know? It's kind of a gamble. No, Norman was not fucking with Jeffrey Epstein. In fact, hold on, we'll talk about that. So, basically, at one point, Jeffrey Epstein forwarded an email about somebody complaining about something and was like, can you believe this? And Norman Finkelstein was like, yeah, I can believe it. You're a fucking creep and a weirdo. If you had a 15-year-old daughter, maybe you'd understand. I have a teenage daughter. That's not a fucking adult. Like, all of this stuff that was, like, really, really good. So Norman Finkelstein was like, fuck you, you fucking weirdo. So that was good. Very, very good. So, all right. So the files are messy. There's a lot of stuff going on in there. There's a lot of emails. There's FBI documentation. And there's some very real stuff that's really fucked up. And then there's stuff that some sloppers are muddying the waters with. I think it is safe to say, though, Democrats, Republicans alike, it's one big team. We're not on it, right? They are both involved in this, and it is creepy and it is weird, and we know that they are pervert child sex traffickers. We know that. They're pedophiles. We know that. We know that that is true. That is true that they are pedophiles. The eating babies thing, I have not seen anything credible about that. I have only seen people who are deemed not credible saying that. But there is a claim that's considered credible, which means we don't know for certain or not, but it was considered credible, of a baby dying. Basically, one of the girls being pregnant, giving birth, and them disposing of the baby, killing the baby on a boat. A couple different people talked about that situation, so there's a good chance that that is a real story. So this is the kind of stuff that is hard with the Epstein files. People aren't reading them correctly. People are capitalizing on how sensational it is by making slop content about it. And there are very real and concerning things in there. Now, there are some funny things in there too. Obviously, everybody's talking about Elon Musk basically begging to go to Perv Island and getting curved, which is pretty funny. It is. It's true. From a dark comedy perspective, Elon Musk, was trying to go hang out on Jeffrey Epstein's island, and there's a point in time where Jeffrey Epstein actually forwards an email from Elon to his assistant and is like, deal with this. And the assistant writes back to Elon Musk and is like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. We're like maybe not even going to go to the island anymore. Like, it's not even a thing. Sorry, you can't come. And he gets curved. And that gives you a lot of insight into his motives in Washington. Obviously, Elon Musk feels like he's always been trying to be a part of this elite, rich group of guys, and he's just too fucking weird. He's too weird even for the weirdos, right? And that's an interesting thing into his psychology. When he turned on Donald Trump and they were fighting, and then he was like, Donald Trump's all over those files, and he was like, I'm not. And it's like, well, you're not, because you tried to go and they said no. You weren't invited. There are other times he was invited to things with Jeffrey Epstein as well. So I think this stuff's like pretty interesting into the psychology of rich people. No, I don't think that email, you might be talking about one that's different than what I was talking about, depending. Was it the deal with this? The dot deal with this? Or was it a different one? And that's the thing, there's a lot of disinfo slop going around about this stuff, which is also why it's hard to report on current events. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. This is the by any means necessary being too cringe for the pedophile island is what everybody's taking from this. Like, wow, he was like too fucking weird. Yeah, Elon was a pick-me girl. So let's talk about some of the things that news organizations are reporting on, right? So a list of powerful men named in the Epstein files, from Elon Musk to former Prince Andrew. This is from February 1st. And Prince Andrew was named a number of times. And multiple different people made complaints also about Robin Leach. You'll see that pop up a few times. People said that they saw Robin Leach strangle a girl to death. We don't know if this is real, again, but we saw multiple people make the allegation. So, very, very interesting. There are a couple fake Elon emails floating around, but there are also a lot of real ones. Yeah. I saw some of the real ones on the DOJ website. So I don't know what the fake ones are. I've tried not to consume too much of the fake content because it honestly has been a little alarming to me that people I respect and follow are sometimes sharing some of the slop content. But again, it's hard to know with current events. Sometimes when you're saying things, you're getting things a little wrong. And that's why current events is tricky. That's why I usually like to talk about politics, but also why it's interesting for us to engage in current events and see what people are reporting and see it in real time. And I think it is valuable work, even knowing the more recent something is, the more of a chance is you're going to get it just a little off. So that's important for us to know. All right. From tech titans to Wall Street power brokers and foreign dignitaries, a who's who of powerful men make appearances in the huge trove of documents released by the Justice Department in connection with its investigations of Jeffrey Epstein. All have denied having anything to do with his sexual abuse of girls and young women, yet some of them maintain friendships with Epstein or developed them anew, even after news stories made him widely known as an alleged abuser of young girls. None have been charged with a crime connected to the investigation. Epstein killed himself in a Manhattan jail cell in 2019. Here's a primer on some of the most notable names in the Epstein files. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. This just sounds like you just know that's a horrible man based on that name, right? It's wild. The man formerly known as Britain's Prince Andrew has long been dogged by questions about his relationship with Epstein, including allegations from the late Virginia Roberts Giuffre that she was trafficked by Epstein and instructed to have sex with Mountbatten Windsor when she was 17. The former prince has repeatedly denied that it happened, but his brother, King Charles III, still stripped him of his royal titles late last year, including the right to be called a prince and the Duke of York. Mountbatten Windsor's name appears at least several hundred times in Friday's document release, including in Epstein's private emails. Among the correspondence is an invitation for Epstein to dine at Buckingham Palace, Epstein's offer to introduce Mountbatten Windsor to a 26-year-old Russian woman, and photos that appear to show Mountbatten Windsor kneeling over an unidentified woman lying on the floor. Sarah Ferguson now. And that's Prince William. When we talk about Prince William, that's Prince William, right? Is that? No, not Prince William. What is his name? I thought there was... I can't keep these royal people straight. They don't call him this. In Prince Andrew? Prince Andrew. They call him Prince Andrew. That's what they call him. Prince Andrew. Sorry. I'm like, Prince William. No, fuck. His name's Andrew. Andrew. I don't know what goes on. This is when people talk about England. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck happens in England. I don't know what you guys are up to over there. I don't even know your princes. No longer a prince. Not even a prince anymore. They stripped him of his title. He's just Andrew. Andrew the perv. All right, so now we know that. We're learning about England, guys. This is all I know about England, actually. This is now the extent of my understanding of England. It's just here from this guy. Sarah Ferguson. In March of 2011, Sarah Ferguson, then the Duchess of York, made a public apology for I'm learning more about England, for letting Jeffrey Epstein pay off some of her debts. Both she and her ex-husband, the former Prince Andrew, okay, it's clicking, had come under tremendous public scrutiny for continuing a friendly relationship with Epstein after he pleaded guilty to soliciting prostitution from an underage girl. Perv is like a compliment for Andrew? Probably. Powerful finger, yes. She told London's Evening Standard newspaper she would have, quote, nothing ever to do with Jeffrey Epstein ever again. But just 2 months later, she emailed Epstein to say she was going on Oprah Winfrey's TV show and wanted his advice on how she should answer questions about the relationship. I just wanted to make sure you were aware of this and seek your advice on how you would like me to answer, Ferguson wrote. Epstein replied, Jeffrey was unfairly characterized as a pedophile by the tabloid press. Many years ago, Jeffrey pleaded guilty to soliciting underage prostitutes. He paid his debt to society and has sought forgiveness. I have nothing more to say. That was his recommendation. Elon Musk, the billionaire Tesla founder, turns up at least a few times in Friday's document release, notably in email exchanges in 2012 and 2013 in which he discussed visiting Epstein's infamous Caribbean island compound. But it's not immediately clear if the island visits took place. Spokespersons for Musk's company, Tesla and X, did not respond to emails seeking comment Friday or Saturday. Musk has maintained that he repeatedly turned down the disgraced financer's overtures. Epstein tried to get me to go to his island, and I refused. He posted it on X in 2025. It looks like the opposite is true. From what we can tell, and it is true, you can't really tell very easily from anything I saw if he actually went or didn't. Some emails make it sound like maybe he did go once, maybe he didn't. He was even talking about going with his wife at some point, his ex-wife, Tallulah Riley. So very, very interesting. It does appear that he was trying to go and the opposite occurred. At one point, yeah, Tesla founder. He's not even the founder. You're so right. He wasn't the founder. He hasn't founded, like, yeah, he just, like, bought that in a hostile takeover, right? He just bought all the stock. Yeah. So, Richard Branson, the billionaire founder of the Virgin Group, a global conglomerate, exchanged numerous emails with Epstein. In 2013, Branson invited Epstein to his own private Caribbean island, which regularly hosts large conferences, charity events, and business meetings. Anytime you're in the area, would love to see you, he wrote, as long as you bring your harem. Richard Branson! Richard Branson's like this, though. This guy's a fucking... He's a kook and a half, too. Danny Way 91, welcome. Today we were talking about the Epstein files. He bought the title founder. Jeffrey Epstein, the New York financier. Yes, that one. All right. In another message that year, he suggested Epstein rehabilitate his image by convincing Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates to tell the public how Epstein had, quote, been a brilliant advisor to him and had, quote, more than learnt your lesson and have done nothing that is against the law since. The company stressed in a statement Saturday there was no wrongdoing on Branson's part, and that any dealings with Epstein were limited to group or business settings more than a decade ago. Branson also declined a charitable donation and decided not to meet or speak with him again after his team, quote, uncovered serious allegations, the company said. Had they had the full picture and information, there would have been no contact whatsoever, the statement reads. Richard believes that Epstein's actions were abhorrent and supports the right to justice for his many victims. Now, I just want to go back to this comment Branson said. As long as you bring the harem, this is how Richard Branson talks. Richard Branson is one of these, like, cool CEOs, right? Like, he's like he's like hip. And this is the way he talks. This is just how he speaks. This is how he would probably refer to young women hanging around rich men, even if they weren't explicitly engaged in prostitution. And there's a lot to be said about where does sex work begin and end? I talk about this in my book, actually. Where does sex work begin and end? It's hard to say in a patriarchal society. It's hard to say in a society where women couldn't have their own bank accounts, until like the 1960s or some shit like that? Fact check me on that exact year, but it was very, very late. I know there was periods of my grandmother's life where she could not have her own bank account. So it's hard to say. But what I will say is that it doesn't matter at a certain point if these women were paid, if they were not. If they were there under the implication they would be compensated. Many of them were. Maybe some of them weren't. That's not really the point of any of this. I think the point of this is that it is so normalized and expected in our culture that very young girls will be in the proximity of old, rich, powerful men. That it becomes casual. So for him to say it casually like that, haha, bring the harem, he's speaking upon how casual it is in our society for us to commodify women to the extent that they are viewed as accessories, playthings, toys for rich and powerful men, right? So whether this was actually a harem as we think of it, right, of kept and captive women forced to do the bidding, or women who were forced to engage in survival level sex work, or maybe women who are of their own agency and volition were engaging in sex work, depending on your interpretation of agency and volition, right? I know that people have different feelings about that under capitalism. I think the important thing to take away from this is that this behavior from these men is normal in our society. Nobody probably even thought twice about it. And for Richard Branson to be like, oh, if we had the full picture and information, we would not have been doing this. Yes, the fuck you would. I'm sure Richard Branson is out hanging out with very, very young girls all the time. Okay, maybe they're 18, maybe it's legal, but it doesn't really matter, because the point of it is that the culture of patriarchy and capitalism intersecting results in the commodification of women and the exploitation of women. And that's really what we're witnessing. So, you know, this is, I think, the important thing to note. There's a lot of good things in the chat, too. 1974, thank you, Sarah Bellows, first time chat. I appreciate that. The 70s, everybody said this. Yes, yes, yes. So, really, really appalling shit. And I think, like, this is a challenge people are running up against. Men want to focus on the legality. They're like, I didn't do anything illegal. I didn't know she wasn't 18. And it's like, sir, if she was 18 or 17 isn't really the point of what we're fucking talking about here. What we're talking about is a pattern of exploitation. Now, obviously, that pattern of exploitation is more harmful the younger these girls get. You're talking about 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds. It's fucking disgusting. But 18-year-olds is kind of fucking disgusting too, honestly. These guys are just like pathetic old pervs who have to the only way they can get women to hang out with them, right, is with financial compensation, with luring them in, with it, not even just financial compensation, excitement, right? Like, let's go on a trip, let's go on the private jet, let's go to this island, you're living this luxurious life. And it really is a byproduct of capitalism, right? Capitalism either forces you in a position where this is what you have to do to survive, or maybe puts you in a position where you don't have to do it to survive, but it feels easier than the other stuff you're trying to pull off to survive. Maybe puts you in a position where the idea of wealth is so appealing to you and shocking to you and unique to you that you're lured in by it. You're seduced by the idea of wealth too, which also isn't your fault, right? That's what our culture shoves down your throat all the time. This stuff is exciting. And I would never fault any woman for being lured in by that, like seeing the allure in that and wanting to understand it. We have this, it's commodity fetishism expanded, right, into a whole billionaire lifestyle fetishism. We fetishize the rich now. It's like a meta fetishization under capitalism that occurs. And you can just look at this and think, like, in a world where everyone's basic needs are met, and we don't have massive wealth disparities, this doesn't happen. And that's why one of the things when we talk about Marxism, communism, socialist places, one of the first challenges they face is the woman question. How do you bring women out of the house and get them to engage in the public sphere in a way that respects them as people, not just commodified objects of masculinity? And that's important. And every socialist place deals with that. Unironically, socialism is when no pedophilia. Yes. I mean, like, this is the stuff that society is attempting to be structured to address. And it's not like these communist places, these socialist places, they knock it out of the ballpark right away. They struggle with this. They struggle with decommodifying women psychologically in men's minds. They struggle with trying to make sure that women are equally represented. It's a process because capitalism is so ingrained in it. And just like every element of socialism, right, the transition out of capitalism into socialism is a transition. It is a process. This is no exception. Trying to decommodify women is also a process that takes work for them to kind of take on. It's very, very interesting. So yeah, I just thought of that when talking about Richard Branson. As long as you bring your harem, because this is just the way this guy talks, if you've ever heard him talk. It's normal for him to talk that way. But that's kind of the issue. They probably felt so normal for all of these men. I bet many of them, it never would have occurred to them this would be a scandal or a problem, what they were doing to these girls and young women, right? And we talked about earlier, there was the 26, sorry, I just spit at my camera. The 26-year-old Russian model, it's like, oh, well, she's 26, but also it's like, how much agency does she really have in this? She is still being commodified. And I think that the Epstein case really is the perverted, sickening underbelly of capitalism. That's what we're looking at. Rich men in dark corners, in dark rooms, making deals, talking about which teenage girl to sexually commodify next, and which country to take over to grow their asset portfolio, right? Very, very interesting. So, Donald Trump. It's long been known that Epstein was friends with Trump before the two had a falling out. The new trove of documents contains thousands of references to Trump. And one of the ones I found about North Korea was, again, him being like, oh yeah, Donald Trump says anything's on the table for regime change, whatever. Like, they don't say regime change explicitly, but that's the implication of the email, including North Korea. So, the new trove of documents contains thousands of references to Trump, much of which sheds little additional light on the men's relationship. They included emails in which Epstein and others shared news articles about Trump, commented on his policies or his politics, or gossiped about him and his family. That is true. There is a lot of gossip in there. The Justice Department also disclosed a spreadsheet created last August that summarized calls made to law enforcement tip lines from people claiming to have some knowledge of wrongdoing by Trump. That is part of the things we're talking about, where some of them were credible and some of them were not. That document included a range of uncorroborated stories involving many different celebrities and somewhat fantastical scenarios, occasionally with notations indicating what follow-up, if any, was done by agents. Chairman Fork's awake. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche said Sunday that the FBI fielded hundreds of calls about prominent individuals that were quickly determined to not be credible. Okay, I'm going to pause on that. I'm going to go deal with Fork. I'm putting up the Fork screensaver. I'll be back in like 2 minutes, and we can talk about that, the credibility thing. Okay, hi, I'm back. Don't judge me. I will be eating chocolate chips while doing the rest of this live. Just straight from the bag. Is it loud? Is it too loud, the bag? Is it annoying? It is girl dinner. I'm girl dinnering. Girl breakfast. Okay. Okay, let's get back into it. So, now, hundreds of calls from about prominent individuals that were quickly determined to not be credible. Good to remember, some of what you guys are seeing people talk about is stuff like this, okay? That was deemed not credible. And at the end of the live stream, maybe we can try to pull up one of those documents and take a look at the parts that were deemed to be not credible. Maybe I can try to find it really fast right here, actually. Epstein spreadsheet of claims. Let's see if we can find it. I have some screenshots saved on my phone, but it might not be easy for us. I accidentally clicked AI mode. Jump scare. Ah! Sorry guys, hold please. I'm still looking. 1 second. One second. Yeah, I'm not finding it very easily. We're going to have to find it somewhere later. I'm so sorry. I thought maybe we could, but we'll look it up. We'll try to find it. It's not Madeline's choice. That's okay. No, you didn't. You spelled my name wrong. Right. Okay, well, if anybody has a link to the spreadsheet, feel free to share it with the chat. Because it'll be beneficial. I bet I can find it on Twitter. I bet somebody posted on Twitter. No, I really feel like it's malicious compliance with the dumps. They're like, here's just a ton of info. Good fucking luck. Oh, yeah, it is. That's fine. All right. So, pin in that. We'll try to revisit that at the end of the chat. We'll try to see if we can find links to the credible or not credible things. Bill Clinton. Like Trump, Clinton spent time with Epstein more than 2 decades ago, including flying occasionally on his private jet and seeing him at the White House. Clinton also denied any knowledge of Epstein's wrongdoing. Please, that guy's a fucking creep as well. Clinton's representatives say the former president broke off relations with Epstein after the first round of criminal charges in 2006. Bad for the look, right? It's a bad look. I don't think he actually cared. The investigative file includes snapshots of Clinton and other famous people that Epstein kept in his home. Okay, we have to do ASMR. In New York. It also contains messages investigators received from members of the general public demanding to know why Clinton wasn't being investigated. None of Epstein's victims have publicly accused Clinton of being involved in Epstein's crimes, though. That's worth noting. Stephen Tisch. The New York Giants co-owner is mentioned more than 400 times in the files released Friday. Correspondence between the two shows Epstein offered to connect Tisch to numerous women over the years. In one 2013 email exchange with the subject line, Ukrainian girl, Epstein encouraged Tisch to contact a particular woman whose physical beauty he praised in crude terms. Pro or civilian? Tisch asked in the reply. Actually, that's a pretty good question to ask. Tisch, a scion of a powerful New York family that founded the Lowe's Corporation, has acknowledged knowing Epstein but denied ever going to his infamous Caribbean island. We had a brief association where we exchanged emails about adult women, and in addition, we discussed movies, philanthropy, and investment, said Tisch, who also won an Academy Award in 1994 for producing Forrest Gump. The more you know. As we all know now, he was a terrible person and someone I deeply regret associating with. Oh, they'll just throw each other under the bus, these fucks, these sick fucks. All right, Casey Wasserman. The president of the committee for the 2028 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles exchanged flirty emails with Epstein confidant Ghislaine Maxwell, Friday's document release shows. In a 2003 exchange, Wasserman wrote to Maxwell, "I think of you all the time, so what do I have to do to see you in a tight leather outfit?" And another, Maxwell asks whether it will be foggy enough during an upcoming visit, quote, "so that you can float naked down the beach and no one can see you unless they are close up." Wasserman released a statement Saturday saying he never had a personal or business relationship with Epstein and that he regretted his correspondence with Maxwell, which he said came, quote, "long before her horrific crimes came to light." Maxwell is currently serving a 20-year prison sentence for sex trafficking. Not to be that petty, but now I really want to look at what Ghislaine Maxwell looked like in 2003, so please indulge me this one thing. I want to know. Huh. I mean, if anything, I'm like, well, it sounds like maybe he was trying to have an age-appropriate romantic liaison. Who knows, though? I'm guessing this is her around this time. Okay, interesting. Just some info. Oh my gosh, yeah. Hi, Dustin Dapp. Yes, hello. We just started Twitch streaming around a month ago. I don't know why it was important to me to know what the woman looked like who was receiving these messages. All right. Ehud Barak. The former Israeli prime minister and his wife turn up frequently in the documents released Friday, I bet they do, showing they stayed in regular contact with Epstein for years, including well after his 2008 guilty plea for sex crimes in Florida. Among the correspondence are plans for a 2017 stay at Epstein's New York residence. Other missives discuss mundane logistics for other visits, meetings, and phone calls with Epstein. Barak has acknowledged regularly visiting Epstein on his trips to New York and flying on his own private plane, but maintains he never observed any inappropriate behavior or parties. Barak served as Israel's prime minister from 1999 to 2001 and later served as its defense minister. I bet it wasn't inappropriate to him. He came from a country that protested their right to rape people. Protested for it. Just in case there was any confusion. He was probably like, everything seemed normal to me. I don't know why people are so mad. I'm from the rape country, though, so maybe that influences it. These fucking weirdos. Oh, they took it down. Oh, okay, hold on. Let's take a look. Oh, this is what this links to. Interesting. Interesting. All right. I bet I can still find it on Twitter, though. I'm gonna look on Twitter really fast. I get like, it's like stuck in my head. You know when you have something stuck in your head, you're like, I gotta find it. Like, I just have to. I don't want you guys to see what I'm searching for because it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Oh, I found the picture that somebody said was of a baby? I don't know about this. This is the picture people are saying is a baby. I don't know. I'm too vegan for that. That just looks like a chicken to me, or a turkey, so I don't really know. So that's what people on the internet are saying is a baby. I don't really. Yeah, they're saying this looks like a baby foot and leg. See what you, to me, that, I don't know. I'm too vegan for this. You guys can assess. This just looks like a bunch of the same kind of dead shit to me. But believe what you want. That looks like a chicken to me as well. So, you know, whatever. Okay, wait. I had to search boat baby Epstein. It's very embarrassing. It's very humiliating to me that I had to do this. So please don't look while I search for this. I'm looking for the fucking spreadsheet. God, it's just so fucking gross scrolling through this shit too, man. Because you see all these things that are blocked out. Like, I'll show you this one really fast. You see stuff like this, these pictures. And you just know, like, this is a victim, right? This is a victim. Like, these are victims. And it's good that they're censored, obviously, for their protection. But you also are just like, holy shit, man. These people are fucked up. Yeah, the baby thing, I don't think that's real. The baby foot thing. But, it's just crazy. the very real things. And this is what I mean. There's enough real shit that's very, very disturbing about this. So people are, of course, turning it into clickbait slop content and spreading disinfo and misinfo. It is hard in the heat of the moment to know when things are current. But, you know, also, I think we could do a little bit of due diligence, maybe. I'm still looking for this fucking spreadsheet, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm still searching. They actually did that stuff during slavery. That person is correct. White people did insane shit like that during chattel slavery in the United States. So there is a precedent for these kinds of stories. And in Haiti, some of the most horrific shit you've ever heard of actually happened in Haiti. Very, very real. So it's not like there's no precedent for this. But those just claims were not found credible. White people were eating enslaved people. Yeah, it's real. That is real. And white people also ate dead mummies. Our culture is not a good one, I will say. The white people culture. So it's not like it's out of nowhere. The things white people did to Haitians alone it will make you sick to your stomach to read about the very real things that occurred. Okay, I'm still trying to find these fucking things, and I'm not finding them anywhere. The spreadsheet. Maybe, I don't know. I feel like people posted screenshots, though. I'm gonna look at my phone. I think I screenshotted them to talk to my partner about, because it was like, oh, you're not, like, online like I'm online. This is what's going on online. So let's see if we can find out. My last search in my phone, in my images, Romania. Because people are always like, my family hated communism. I'm like, where are you from? And then they tell me, and then I have all these saved charts that are like, well, Romanians liked it, man. I'm sorry your grandma didn't, man. Yeah, Victorian people ate mummies. Totally. Oh, I do have them saved. Okay, so I have these saved on my phone. Maybe I'm going to airdrop them to myself, and then we can pull them up on my computer, maybe. And take a look. Some of the claims are credible, some aren't. Unfortunately, I only screenshotted the ones that seemed credible, so we'll have to see if some of the uncredible ones are there too. Let's see. Downloads. Let's move these to my desktop so they're easy to find. All right. So this is just for my desktop, so I'm not sure what I screenshotted or why, but let's take a look. This is from the document that I had been searching for. So as you can see, what a lot of people are looking at is this is a spreadsheet, and I zoomed in for certain things. So I did not anticipate having to use this as a representation of the entire document right now. And what we had was complaint in here, and then the follow-up or the response here. Or in some spreadsheets, it was what they thought about how, yeah, I can zoom in further. Hold on, let me see how credible it was. So, for example, complainant made a podcast of her story. It was about an encounter with Ghislaine Maxwell, and she was 14 years old. Okay, whatever. So this one says, complainant reported ex-girlfriend, blah, blah, were victims of Epstein's, and one was murdered. While working as a limousine driver, complainant recalled picking up Donald Trump in 1995 to take him to Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. During that ride, complainant recalled some of the things Trump spoke about on his cell phone were very concerning, and described being, quote, a few seconds from pulling the limousine over on the median, and within a few seconds of pulling him out of the car and hurting him due to some of the things he was saying. Complainant noted Trump repeatedly stated the name Jeffrey while on the phone. One of complainant's ex-girlfriends, blank, told complainant that Trump assaulted her, as did Epstein. And then it'll say here, voicemail left, no response. No contact, this girl lives in Australia. So we don't know. We don't know about that one. It wasn't deemed not credible, but it wasn't, followed up on well. So this is kind of, and people are just taking all these claims and saying these definitely happened. We don't know that. We have enough info, though, to know bad shit did happen. So we don't need to, whatever. Okay. So some of this stuff really does seem to line up with other complaints, though. This person said that she was 13. She was forced to do things, blah, blah. We don't have to get into all the details. We don't need to, do glorifying the assault vibes. But yeah, this is what was in that spreadsheet. I'm trying to find ones that were deemed not credible and see if I have any screenshots of them. Also, you guys, check this out. This is the most Madeline thing ever. The 8% battery. Well, I screenshotted these. It might be the same limo driver. I haven't seen the videos, but it could be. Yeah. Okay, more calls, blah, 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 blah. Calendar girl parties. That seems pretty credible. Lots of people have talked about the calendar girl parties. This is pretty vile. This stuff's pretty vile. It's pretty intense to read. Sorry. I'm so sorry. From what I can tell, the ones they highlighted in yellow they thought might be credible, and the ones in white they didn't, but that's just a guess on my end. So this is the spreadsheet that I guess got removed. I'm trying to find the one where it says it's not credible, though. And that's the one that people keep making videos about. Some of these are, again, seem more credible because multiple people are reporting the same thing. This one has names of key people involved put there. No, yeah, I don't have it. I don't have the one that doesn't seem credible. So the one that was deemed not credible, though, is the one where they're talking about, like, cutting babies open and George Bush and all of that. 8%. I don't charge my phone. Let's see what else I saved. Oh, the Chomsky stuff. He handled all of Chomsky's finances. And also, not just Chomsky's finances, though. He also, donated a bunch of money to Chomsky programs and things like that, which is interesting. All right. So, Larry Summers, Clinton's former Secretary of Treasury and the one-time president of Harvard University, is another of Epstein's well-known longtime acquaintances. The new documents are full of references to meetings and dinners between the two men. A previously released trove of documents shows Summers emailing Epstein in 2019 after the financier had been charged with sexual abuse of minors to discuss his interactions with a woman. Writing, he told her, quote, "Awfully coy you are." Epstein replied, "You reacted well." Summers has called his interactions with Epstein a major error of judgment. Again, it's like, it's just so normal for these guys. They probably don't even realize what they're doing is wrong. And I think that should really be the takeaway from all of this. They're like, everything can be bought. Everything can be bought. That's what capitalism is. Everything's for sale, just has a price. Of course we would buy women. Why wouldn't we? We buy everything else. It's very, very fascinating. So, Howard Lutnick. I'm going to wash down the chocolate chips with the coffee. Phone on 8%. Chocolate chips for breakfast. Boob is about to fall out of shirt. You guys are getting real insight into who I am off camera right now. Spreadsheet that says fix your life. I'm doing it. I'm living the dream, you guys. Okay. Howard Lutnick. Let's get into it. President Donald Trump's Commerce Secretary visited Epstein's private Caribbean island with his family on at least one occasion, records released Friday show. That appears to contradict prior statements he's made, claiming he cut ties with the disgraced financier, who he's called gross decades ago. But emails show Lutnick and his wife accepted an invitation to Little St. James in the U.S. Virgin Islands in December 2012 and planned to arrive by yacht with their children. And I did see a lot of this. A lot of people brought their families and spouses and things like that as well. So, The former chairman of Newmark, a major commercial real estate firm, also had drinks on another occasion in 2011 with Epstein and corresponded with him about the construction of a building across the street from both of their homes. The Commerce Department, in a statement, said Lutnick had limited interactions with Mr. Epstein in the presence of his wife and has never been accused of wrongdoing. Sergey Brin. The billionaire Google co-founder made plans to meet with Epstein and Maxwell at his townhouse in New York years before he was publicly accused of sexually abusing underage girls, emails show. In one exchange in 2003, Maxwell invited him to join her at a screening of the Renee Zellweger film Down with Love in New York. She loved rom-coms, confirmed. Loves. She's still alive. She followed up a few weeks later to invite him to a happily casual and relaxed dinner at Epstein's house. Brin offered to bring along Google's then CEO Eric Schmidt. Spokespersons for Google did not immediately respond to an email seeking comment on Saturday. Steve Bannon's all over these things. The one-time advisor to Trump exchanged hundreds of friendly texts with Epstein, some sent months before the financier's 2019 arrest and jailhouse suicide. The two discussed politics, travel, and a documentary Bannon was said to be planning that would help salvage Epstein's reputation. One 2018 exchange, for example, focused on Trump's threats at the time, to oust Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. Posture check. Hydrate. You're right. Oh, Steve's a fucking weirdo loser. As if we didn't know that, right? You know, I don't like to speculate. Sometimes I like to speculate. I would assume Jeffrey Epstein did not commit suicide if I was in the business of speculating, suffice it to say. I'm just gonna say that. So, yeah, the Steve Bannon stuff's real weird. He's kind of, like, seen in a lot of the emails from what I saw as, like, a gatekeeper of Trump. Like, oh, we need this from Trump. Like, Bannon will do it. Call Bannon. Ask Bannon. Like that. I have a fork tattoo. Do you guys not know that? You see? Wait, this way, yeah. The screen I set up to mirror, so it's hard. But yeah, that's fork. Yeah. It's cute. My friend Kylie did it. So if you're in the Long Beach area, Kylie, she's great. Kylie Harris is her name, and she tattoos at 7 Seas? Deep Seas? It's something Seas in Redondo. And she's awesome. And I love her. So you should go to her. She's awesome. All right. So, Bannon, fucking freak. Obviously, whatever. Hasn't responded to email seeking comment. Miroslav Lajkak, a national security advisor to the Slovakian Prime Minister, Lajkak resigned Saturday after his past communications with Epstein appeared in Friday's document release. Opposition parties and a nationalist partner in Fico's governing coalition had called for him to step down. Lajkak, a former Slovak foreign minister and one-time president of the UN General Assembly, has not been accused of any wrongdoing, but was photographed meeting with Epstein in the years between his initial release from jail and his subsequent indictment in 2019 in sex trafficking charges. He said his correspondence with Epstein was part of his diplomatic duties. So this is what has been confirmed. Now, something else I thought was really interesting about the Epstein stuff that I would love to get into, if I had time to do this, is the saved searches, like the Google alerts that Epstein had set up. So you guys know about this. You can set up an alert to email you every time something pops up on the internet, basically. It's like a Google search alert email. Lajkak, thank you. Lajkak. I like Lajkak better, personally, but, you know, what are you gonna do? You can't decide someone else's name, I guess. So, one of the things I thought was really interesting in the files, let's see if I can find that. We're gonna see. It actually comes up when you look up North Korea. Yeah, but it was really this, like, what the alerts were. So the things he wanted to know about. There was a lot where he wanted to know if people had been accused of trafficking, of bribery, and it seems like the vibe is that he... Yeah, so Google search alert email. Exactly, yeah. Jay Comrade, first time chat. Hi, thank you. It seems like what he really wanted to do with this is... I'm trying to find one of them as an example. See if people he was associated with were getting busted for being fucking weird creeps, because that would mean that he knew he was about to get busted for being a weird fucking creep. That's the vibe I got from it. Okay, so this is the one email about North Korea I thought was interesting. This is from David Stern to Jeffrey Epstein. I want to go to North Korea to see number one. Via U.S. channel seems best. How? And then there was actually a response that was like, you can't. Like, there's sanctions. I'm not going to be able to get you there. And then here's another one from David Stern. Ask Bannon to get me to North Korea. I want to buy prime real estate. I have the money. I feel like this has to be code of some kind. Like, what? But again, the response from Epstein was just like, that's not going to happen because of sanctions. Sorry, guys. Which is very, very interesting. I don't know what Bannon was trying to do in North Korea. Honestly, very, very fascinating. But yeah, Governor Richardson is loving this North Korea theme. It gets him back in the news from Richard Kahn. And again, we also saw emails of Epstein being like, basically like, look, Donald Trump is totally down to like change things up, and that includes North Korea. So I don't know. I feel like they were speculating on a regime change in North Korea. Let's see what this is. This is from Jeffrey Epstein to somebody who's been redacted. I qualified for the Pyongyang Marathon. I will be in North Korea next year on Kim Jong-il's birthday. Hopefully he will be standing at the finish line when I cross. He greets the first 100 finishers. This is from 2010. Can't wait to see you. I don't know. This is very, very interesting. How was North Korea? Let me see if I can do December. Currently, I will be in Paris. This is from somebody to Jeffrey Epstein. We had a very interesting visit to North Korea. I'm traveling currently in Europe and Monaco. We'll be back in Mongolia next week. We could host you next week. Blah, 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 blah. This is from Purev, somebody else, not Jeffrey Epstein. So I don't know. It's very interesting. It does seem like there's also a thing where it's like something happened with North Korea, but I can't write an email like, let's do a phone call at one point. And it really does seem like they're plotting some sort of overthrow. Very, very fascinating. Yeah, it just keeps popping up here. But I'm trying to see one of the search results. It does feel like they took a lot of stuff off. Now that I'm looking, I'm like, wait, this isn't the same way it was over the weekend when I was looking. Has anybody else noticed that? Alberta separatists? No. I've not seen that. Divide and conquer. Crazy. Okay, we'll save that. Let's keep looking at the, let's look up some Zelensky stuff. Why not? All right, so the reason why a lot of these things are hard to get through is this. It's like just subscriptions from news sources. So you're not really getting, just like personal info. It's just kind of the Washington Post, you know? Or like this is probably like a news thing too, if I had to guess. Uh-oh. Spectrum. Spectrum. Look at it load. Look at it slowly. So sad. Yeah, you can if you're not American. There's only 3 countries that make it so that you can't go to North Korea. It's us, South Korea, obviously, and Mongolia? Myanmar? Malaysia? What country is this starts with an M? Okay, PDF. Yep. Okay. Oh, yeah. It's all Washington Post. So, Oh, shit. Oh, my God. Now we have to start over. Jesus fucking Christ. All right. So this is really what makes it hard to sift through this stuff. You are just looking through somebody's entire email records. And not in a very user-friendly way. Oh, here we go. What's this one? This looks personal. Oh, these are texts also. We have iMessage stuff in here. How many people film docs in North Korea? A fair amount. My Brothers and Sisters in the North is a documentary film there. There's also Koryo Studios. They film a lot of documentaries in North Korea. So we don't know who this is. Very, very interesting. Talking about going to Slovakia. Interesting. So I do feel like to actually understand what's going on here, you would have to like spend like weeks like going through finding documents and then organizing them meticulously into a timeline to try to build what's going on here. I'm visiting Zelensky this Thursday. I'm in the Balkans. Arriving the evening from Bosnia to Kosovo. Blah, blah, blah. All of this stuff. He's always talking about Trump too. As you predicted, yeah. Oh, the website JDriver Jmail is a bit more interesting. Okay. Oh, yeah, Jmail. Jeffrey Epstein's emails. Oh, wow. It's literally just like a Gmail interface. It would have to be your full-time focus, definitely. And it is pretty wild. I want to see, like, the Google search alerts. Let's see if we can, like, find it. Alerts. Nope. Has to be something else. I don't know how to find them, but whatever the case. Okay. So it's just a bunch of garbage like this, though, to sort through. This makes sense. It's It's a lot. It's a lot. Okay, let's get back to this stuff over here. Now, we've got the Guardian articles about it. What if we learn from the newly released Epstein files? Get out of here, Guardian. I'm not paying you. Maybe later. Never. They want me to pay them. I'm not going to. The U.S. Justice Department, this is from January 31st, okay, 3 days ago, has released millions of files related to the late child sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, the largest disclosure by the government since a law passed last year said the document should be published. The disgraced financier was convicted of child sex offenses in 2008, and files indicate that many high-profile figures, including the former Prince Andrew, continued friendships with him after this point. Epstein killed himself in a Manhattan jail cell in 2019 while awaiting trial on new child abuse charges. His accomplice, the British socialite Ghislaine Maxwell, is serving a 20-year sentence in the U.S. for child sex trafficking. Here's what we learned from the latest Epstein's file release. I love The Guardian. They're as far left as you can be without being a communist or something. Sometimes. But one thing I like about them is when they're like, we're doing propaganda explicitly. They even will have a link at the top of the stories like, this is paid for by this group. And I'm like, well, at least that's something. Released emails appear to show that former Prince Andrew, invited Epstein to Buckingham Palace. We heard about that. He gave a disastrous interview to Newsnight presenter Emily Maitlis in which he tried to claim he had distanced himself from Epstein after the 2008 conviction for abusing a 14-year-old girl in Florida. The files suggest that this is not the case. They remained close. Oh, Chinese Messer, really? Okay. Yeah, I thought I saw there was one more, but I'm not. Yeah, maybe that's incorrect. In September 2010, emails between Epstein... Wait, where does he say that? Epstein. No, he brought Epstein to Buckingham Palace. He invited Epstein to Buckingham Palace. In September 2010, emails between Epstein and the Duke, believed to be him, who was then Duke of York, show Epstein requested private time on a planned visit to London. Former Prince Andrew appears to have responded, we could have dinner at Buckingham Palace and lots of privacy. 2 days later, he followed up by saying, delighted for you to come here to Buckingham Palace. Come with whomever. I'll be here free from 1600-ish. It's unclear if this meeting took place, but 3 months later, Epstein and former Prince Andrew were pictured walking together in New York Central Park. Former Prince previously claimed he had traveled to the U.S. to end his friendship with Epstein in person in light of his conviction. I'm sure he did. Oh, please. The documents also suggest it kind of feels like when you catch someone cheating on you and they're like, no, you don't understand. I was telling her I didn't want to see her. You're like, okay, yeah, you're a photographed in-person friend breaking up with the sex offender. Like, what? We're supposed to fucking believe that? Oh, that's pretty crazy. Okay. The documents also suggest that the previous month, Epstein had offered to arrange for former Prince Andrew to have dinner with a, quote, clever, beautiful, and trustworthy Russian woman. Trustworthy Russian woman who was 26. Former Prince Andrew apparently responded that he would be delighted to see her, and he asked Epstein if he was good to be free from house arrest. Several photos in the just-released files show Andrew appearing to be crouching over an unidentified woman who was lying on the floor. His former wife, Sarah Ferguson, thanked Epstein for being the brother she always wished for in an email sent a year after his child sex abuse conviction. And again, this is what I mean. It's not 14. They're like, that's not a big deal. Of course he had sex with a teenager. Who doesn't have sex with teenagers? This is how normal it is to these people. Like, it does not occur to them that this is weird. Which is why it's like, of course they don't actually fucking care. They don't give a shit about this stuff, right? So, in August 2009, Ferguson appears to suggest she and her daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, meet the disgraced financier, saying, I've never been more touched by a friend's kindness than your compliment to me in front of my girls. Epstein was under house arrest when the email was sent, but Ferguson implies the pair had lunch the previous week. It's not been confirmed she visited him while he was confined to his home. In the emails, Ferguson also discussed conversations she had with retailers regarding her Sarah Ferguson brand. Epstein gave Ferguson at least $15,000 to help pay off debts, but some reports suggested he bankrolled her to a much greater extent. In 2011, she said her relationship with Epstein had been a gigantic error of judgment, but she later emailed him privately to apologize. Epstein sent £10,000, pounds, to Laura Mandelson's husband, Reynaldo Avila de Silva, in the year after his conviction. The email suggests this was to fund an osteopathy course? Osteopathy? Oh, the woman Epstein brought to Buckingham Palace may be unrelated to the files and just new victim coming forward. Okay, let's take a look at this afterwards. The FBI received allegations about Donald Trump's link to Epstein. Although the U.S. president is mentioned hundreds of times in the files, he's always denied any wrongdoing or knowledge of Epstein's sexual abuse. The U.S. Justice Department said some of the documents contain untrue and sensationalist claims. We know about that. And again, to me, the thing is, like, we don't need the sensational claims. We know these people are fucking freaks. We know they're fucking creeps. We know they're fucking awful human beings. We know they're disgusting to women. We know they have no values. We know that they exploit and harm everything they come into contact with. That's how they became these rich fucking powerful assholes, right? So, like, who cares? I don't care what the specifics are. And that's when everybody's, like, interested in the Epstein files. I'm like, I don't really know if I need to know the specifics. I get it, you know? But, you know. Oh, Minx Frizz. Hi, watching from the bath. I'm eating chocolate chips. Okay. Elon Musk asked to be invited to parties. Yes, this is confirmed. What day/night will be the wildest party on your island? Oh, Malaysia. It was Malaysia. I knew it was an M country. Head of LA Olympics Committee emailed Maxwell about massages and leather outfits. That was him, the head of the LA Olympics. We hate the Olympics Committee here in LA. Just so you guys know, we do not fuck with the Olympics. The Olympics is going to destroy LA. I didn't realize Casey Washerman was that. Alright, so it's all connected. All of our enemies are the same. Steve Tisch, we know about, yes. And Epstein lawyers discussed possibility of cooperation with prosecutors days before his death. Also interesting. Now, second Epstein victim claims she was sent to UK for sex with Andrew, lawyer says. All right, so this is the article we just got. Second woman is alleging that she was sent there for an encounter with former Prince Andrew. And this happened allegedly at Royal Lodge in 2010. She was not British. She was in her 20s at the time. She was given a tour of Buckingham Palace as well as tea after spending the night with him. And she was sent by Jeffrey Epstein, allegedly. So that's what this news story is. Let's see. Edwards represents more than 200 Epstein survivors worldwide. Wow. And represented Virginia Giuffre, who alleged she was brought to London basically to have a liaison with this guy when she was 17 years old in 2001. Liaison, you know, whatever. Whatever you want to call it. She was trafficked. All right. Giuffre said she was forced to have sex with Prince Andrew. Sorry, I don't want to go into too many of the details about the abuse stuff. But she was forced to do this 2 more times between 2001 and 2002, once in New York and once on Epstein's private Caribbean island. Epstein was convicted in 2008 of soliciting from a 14-year-old girl in Florida and completed a sentence in January 2010. So, yeah, this is what the story's about. God, it's just like these fucking creeps. Ugh, these fucking creeps. And I guess Vanity Fair has released 11 things, but we have to have access for them, so we're not going to do that. All right, so let's talk about the 4chan thing. The 4chan thing is something we can talk about that's not going to be like, we got to skip a lot of details because it's just sensationalist assault content. So the 4chan thing I think will be interesting for us to get into. Chocolate chip break, 1 moment. They're fucking pedophiles. They're pedophile freaks. And it's so normalized. It's wild. Oh, I forget about Archive PH. Let's try it. One second. Okay. All right. Yeah, we got it. We got it. Nice. Thousands of new documents from the Jeffrey Epstein investigation released Friday. Journalists and citizen investigators across the nation were greeted by one of the most reassuring phrases in the English language: "See Sam, not scanned." Current law enforcement form for child pornography. God, this is so fucked. All right. Seeing the terms dozens of times across the 3 gigabytes of new Epstein materials is a sign the FBI has more specific documentation of the late abuser's crimes, but the Bureau will not be disseminating it. There's an array of photographs 2019 searches of his town home in Manhattan, compound on Little St. James Island in the Caribbean. The photos of victims are obscured. And while the FBI withheld the worst of its Epstein material, there are still plenty of unpleasant sights to be seen for anyone with a stomach to dig through. Here, Vanity Fair. I didn't realize this, actually. They didn't divulge everything yet. Is this, what date is this from? December 19th. That's why we just got the most of it. Okay. So this is from the last dump. A phrenology head. He had an abiding interest in race science. Epstein did. I didn't know that, but that makes sense. You know, we say the Zionists are the new Nazis. They're taking it really literally. That's what an ethno-state does to you. You get really interested in race science. It's fucking wild. So, he apparently had that on a desk at his home in Little St. James Island that prominently displays a sort of white phrenology bust you would find in the possession of a 19th century eugenicist. Pictures of Bill Clinton in a hot tub. I remember this. We talked about this when it happened. Weird art featuring children. Okay. Epstein doing a mud mask. Okay. Taxidermy tiger and a potentially taxidermy dog. A phone message from Jean-Luc Brunel. Maxwell putting Epstein's toes in her cleavage. That makes sense. A letter from a supporter. And this is, I want to read this actually because I think this talks about the Western culture of commodification of women and like how misogyny really works. This actually looks good to read to really understand and hammer the point home. I hate that you got into these mess with these girls over the years. These girls knew what they were doing. You didn't put a gun to their head. But you have to watch it too. All rich people are targets in this world. A lot of these girls you dealt with is or was runaways in the first place. So it's just like, and this is how they think of it. They're like, okay, like this is like, NHI, do you guys know what NHI? No humans involved. Like, that's something that law enforcement used to say when sex workers were murdered by clients. No humans involved. We don't have to pursue trying to solve this because it was a dehumanization of women doing sex work. We look at this. A lot of these girls were runaways anyway, so who cares? It's really communicating like the degenerate classism of a capitalist system and what really happens under classism in capitalism, right? The poor are not seen as human. We're not seen as human to the rich class. We're not like, and if you think about it, think about yourself. Think about if you were in this situation where something happened to you and the rich did it. How would they talk about you? Would you be a no human involved case? What would they dig up from your past in an effort to discredit you? Like, what would you be reduced to? The complexity of your identity, the complexity of your experiences. What would you be reduced to in order to discredit people caring about what happened to you in this type of society? And that's something I think about a lot. I think about my friends who would be reduced to, oh, that was just like a sex worker. That was just a prostitute. Who cared what happened to them? Like, I think about that a lot. And it's really horrifying. Or runaways. Yeah, well, it's just like a runaway. Nobody cares about them. They don't have family. Like, whatever. You know, these kinds of things are very alarming. And they're so structural and built into our society, right? The less dead. Yeah, exactly. It's very, very horrible. So, yeah. There's a massage room with a lube cabinet. Okay. Vibrators in weird places. Hitachi massagers are sitting out on a countertop. Dozens of framed pictures of girls, etc. So this is what they've got going on. Here's another one, but let's see if that's recent. And we'll get into the 4chan stuff, which will be a little easier to talk about than this stuff. Okay. So, Neiman Lab. Oh, where did it go? History. Now we're talking about 4chan. I thought we had another article about it. Let's see. Oh yeah, this was it. Okay. So we've two of them. 1 second. We'll get into this. Oh, I see. All right. So Here are the two articles we have. This one is actually from August 13th, 2019. Jeffrey Epstein's death was on 4chan before officials had announced it, and authorities had to look into it. That's pretty interesting. I didn't know this. Did you guys know about this? I didn't hear about this either. Let's talk about it. The New York City Fire Department looked into whether an employee posted about Jeffrey Epstein's death on a notorious internet message board prior to officials announcing it to the public, BuzzFeed News had learned. After telling BuzzFeed News the post was under review, an FDNY spokesperson said authorities determined this alleged information did not come from the fire department. An investigation is a formal act which brings about a process which includes interviewing witnesses, serving notice, determining credibility of witness statements, and that was not warranted, nor did it take place here. This determination was made after a review of the incident. We looked at the information provided by a BuzzFeed News source reporter, and we looked at our own records, and there was no match. A fire department spokesperson, Frank Dwyer, said, who added that the fire department's Office of Healthcare Compliance conducted the review. It doesn't match our medical records. Almost 40 minutes before ABC News first reported Epstein's death on Twitter, someone posted still unverified details on 4chan, the anonymous message board popular far-right trolls and white nationalists. I love that descriptor. Don't ask me how I know, but Epstein died an hour ago from hanging, cardiac arrest. Screen cap this, read the post, which was published at 8:16 a.m. alongside an image of Pepe, the green frog that has become a mascot for far-right-wing internet trolls. Oh, wow. That message was posted 38 minutes before the first tweet about Epstein's death from Aaron Katersky, an ABC News reporter, at 8:54 a.m. 5 minutes later, the main ABC News account tweeted an article about Epstein's death. Oh, here's the post. And there's Pepe. Okay. All right. After publishing the post, other 4chan users egged on the author. When they expressed doubt, the original poster added more information to the discussion thread, including a detailed breakdown of the procedures allegedly used to resuscitate Epstein, which suggests the poster may have been a first responder, medical worker, or otherwise privy to details about efforts to resuscitate the disgraced financier. Dwyer told BuzzFeed News he, quote, could not verify the accuracy of the information in the 4chan post, but he said any medical professional who divulges patient information without consent is in violation of federal health privacy law, HIPAA, and then FDNY would look into it. So that's kind of it that happened there. Okay. The fucking 4chan screenshots. We're in the most disturbing dystopia. I can't believe this is culture right now. It's absolutely fucking wild. Worked Astutol for 40 minutes, intubated, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it sounds like a healthcare provider just leaked it. Okay, interesting. The 4chan user made 6 posts about Epstein's death. One of them claimed that attempts to resuscitate him were made for 40 minutes before he was transported to a hospital, at which point medical personnel tried to revive him for another 20 minutes. They are at least partially consistent with information regarding his death that have been publicly released from the Federal Bureau of Prisons. So that's just like, I guess somebody who was a first responder leaked it. All right, and then we have this story from 4chan to Elon Musk. What's in the latest Epstein file dumped? Disgraced financier and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein was a gamer who liked to share 4chan links and once chatted with Elon Musk about coming to a wild party on his notorious island. This and more was revealed. Let's just search for 4chan on here. All right. There is information included about Epstein's personal habits, including getting kicked off of a gaming platform and his connection with the infamous 4chan message board. What do you have to do to get kicked off a gaming platform? That's just like blatant Nazi shit there. Like, you can be a Nazi on a gaming platform. What did he have to do to get fucking kicked off? I actually want to hear about that. Gamer who got banned from Xbox Live. Exactly. I'm like, what did you have to fucking do? Like, what? Also, fun bit of Madeline lore. I don't know if you guys remember PlayStation Home, Sony PlayStation Home. Back in the days of PlayStation, like mid-2000s, like 2008, 2009, they introduced this thing called PlayStation Home. And it was supposed to be like a hub for live PlayStation gaming where it was like a lobby, basically. It was like a fancy lobby. And you could like have kind of like an avatar of yourself and you could deck it out and you could have your own little like apartment in the fancy lobby. I designed the outfits for that. I designed some of the outfits you could buy for your characters in PlayStation Home. Isn't that funny? Random. Very, very random. It was one of my first design jobs after college. Okay. Oh my god, you got banned from Xbox Live for telling everyone to unionize their workplace? Wow. harassments, threats, or abuse of other players. Imagine you're fucking playing video games and some guy's just like, I don't know who the fuck you think you are, you little shit. I'm gonna come to your house and kill you in your sleep. And it's Jeffrey fucking Epstein. Oh. We lost the charger. Hold, please. We gotta make a switch. Fork screensaver incoming. Okay, we're back. All right. I don't have any pictures. It was a long time ago. But yeah, they were like all the weirdo outfits. So let's take a look at that. Microsoft permanently banned Jeffrey Epstein from Xbox Live. Thank you for sharing us. The Microsoft email notified Epstein that his Xbox Live account privileges had been permanently suspended. And the reasons were, yes, harassment, threats, and or abuse of other players, and described them as determined to be severe, repeated, and or excessive. What games do you guys think he was playing? Do we know? This is wild. It does not describe the actions of the specific user. This message to notify you Xbox Live has permanently suspended the Xbox Live account associated with this email address. Wow. Roblox. Probably. He's like, oh god, I was about to make a really gross joke. Creepy pedophile. Creepy pedophile on Roblox. I mean, do you guys remember there was this TikTok that went viral of this woman realizing that her husband was a pedophile because he was spending way too much time on Roblox talking to young girls? It was very, very, very alarming. Probably on Animal Crossing. He's probably doing eugenics on Animal Crossing. You know the eugenics girlies on Animal Crossing? Who are like, this island is only for frogs. Or they like hate the frogs usually. They're like, get rid of the frogs. He was probably doing that. He was probably building some sort of Animal Crossing ethno-state. I could see that for him. Okay. He's probably the best island in Minecraft. Oh god. What a fucking... Again, these people are fucking lunatics. Like, they are... Like, you could not make a cartoon villain as bad as the leaders of our planet right now, of the capitalist country leaders of our planet right now. Like, if you wrote these as characters, they would seem unrealistic. Like, if you wrote Jeffrey Epstein as a character in a book, and you're like, we've got this spy, and he's really into video games, and he gets banned from everything for being too edgy, and he's really into eugenics, and he's got a private island where he flies teenage girls out, and he knows everybody. He knows the president, and he knows rappers, because Jay-Z was in there too. He knows everyone, and they're all in it together. Like, you would think that sounded fake. Like, you would think that was fucking ridiculous. But no, it's real. And it's just so embarrassing that this is the leadership of our fucking planet. These are the oligarchs in control of our entire fucking global economy and like modes of production. I don't know. It's just fucking disgusting. He's like the epitome of finance capital too. It's just horrible. Yeah, an editor would be like, this is a little much. This is totally correct. Dorian Sapiens. You're laying it on too thick. Yeah, Pusha T. I saw the Pusha T ones. I just saw somebody talk about the Jay-Z ones. But it's just, it's real. These fucking weird, pathetic losers are in charge of everything, and they're creeps, and they harm people. And this is what capitalism gives you. It's not a meritocracy. It's not a fucking meritocracy. It's wild. Oh, what? Denmark built a perfect scale replica of the country on Minecraft for school kids to use. Americans found it and blew everything up. Yeah, not even Minecraft is safe from U.S. invasion. That's wild. A mad scene. This is just, ugh. All right, so let's learn about 4chan, the 4chan Connect. Oh no, what's this? The Bannon hot tub? Allegedly filled with acid? What? The Washington Post reported a story on Saturday investigating a counselor to the president, Steve Bannon's legal residence. No one knows where he really lives, but in the course of the investigation, they uncovered something even more disturbing. A hot tub at the house where Bannon claimed to have lived looked like it was filled with acid. Bannon's ex-wife, Diane, was the one residing there, and neighbors told the Post they had never seen Bannon near the house. The theory is that Bannon claimed to live in the Florida house because the state does not have income tax. And Esquire says, and then shit gets weird. The Post obtained a February 2015 email from Bannon's former landlord that read, entire jacuzzi bathtub seems to have been covered in acid. Covered in is different than filled with, I will say, for the sake of accuracy. No, I don't know about the Bannon acid hot tub. This is just, I like to really wait 20, 30 years to learn about things. That's how I typically do my business. I'm out of town. Is there any way you could talk with Diane to sort this out? He's like, talk to my wife. I don't deal with the acid hot tub problems. The landlord also noticed padlocks had been installed on interior doors and other doors were totally removed. Also, they have a landlord? Wait, what? Steve Bannon's alleged residence he doesn't even own? What? What the fuck? I have so many questions. Like, what? Why does that guy have a landlord? Yeah, how does something look like acid? Also, that's a good question. I have so many questions about this. This shit is so crazy. Okay. Rich people don't own homes. They buy, borrow, die. You know what? I think you're right. And this is something true. Okay, so I used to be a personal assistant, and I wrote about it in my book, The Woman I Was a Personal Assistant For. She owned a house in Silver Lake, and we were talking to her one day. Like, she and I were talking about her buying her house. That's what we were talking about. And she's like, I always really wanted to buy a house. I knew I wanted to buy a house as soon as I could, blah, 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 blah. And she was like, you should buy a house. And I was like, I can't just buy a house. But she was right. I could just buy a house. I did buy a house. It wasn't easy, but I fucking did it, So we were talking about this, and she talked about how rich people don't buy houses. And I didn't believe her. And I didn't think of it until just now when you said that. Yeah, Madeline Pendleton and Steve Bannon confirmed on Twitch. So she was like, yeah, when I bought my house, Eliza Dushku lived here. Eliza Dushku was renting the house. The actress. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the actress. Eyes and Lips is going to name me Steve Bannon's landlord. I know. Oh, my God. And I was like, that's so weird. Like, she's so rich. Like, she's a millionaire for sure. Why doesn't she own a house? And the woman I worked for was like, well, I think at a certain point you have so much money. Why do you need to? Like, we buy houses because they're good investments, right? Because then we'll pay them off. We won't have to make monthly housing payments. They'll help fund our retirements at some point. We can sell them if we need to. We don't have the money to waste on rent. But for people who do have the money to waste on rent, why would you even bother buying a house? You don't need it. You don't need an appreciating asset. You don't need to invest in something for your future. You're set. You've got cash. And this is now suddenly occurring to me that this is correct. Yeah. Yeah. Buy, borrow, die is how you live for free. Yeah. It's pretty wild. They get everything on credit. There's that quote that's like, if you owe somebody $100,000, that's your problem. If you owe somebody $100 million, that's their problem. I mean, it's so true. That's so true. Yeah. I think this is my year of defaulting on debt for the first time. Though, if you guys read my book, I always played by the rules 100%. Very, very strict to the financial rules. Had an 820 credit score at one point. And this is the year where I'm like, you know what, fuck it, I can't do it anymore. And it is kind of liberating. I'm like, holy shit, rich people are doing this all the time, but with way more money than I'm ever doing it on. That's very fascinating. Yeah, Faith from Buffy. Yeah, Eliza Dushku rented a house that my former boss bought. Yeah. And so there was a steak that was from the Buffy show. That was like a commemorative steak that Eliza Dushku accidentally left there. And my boss had it. She had it. Yeah. at the time. Oh, you have a small ICE protest near your work right now. Oh, cool. What town are you in? Yeah, LA. LA life, man. LA is like that. The job I am best suited for, actually, is personal assistant. Oh, it's not a bad thing about it. It's just a neutral thing. Just so rich people don't buy houses they don't need to. My boss said she was very nice. I don't know. The general strike, I think, went well. But I think that we need to build a bigger movement. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's just a one-day strike. That's not really a strike. You're supposed to strike until your demands are met. And I know that. And I agree. But Americans are so out of practice on striking. We don't have a strike culture. So I really think we need to start doing these kind of one-day things more and more and more to get people used to it and comfortable with it and build up that culture. So, you know. Madeline Pendleton confirmed to have owned a sweatshop on Epstein's Island because she's racist with the pronouns and everything. The she. So true. I actually made a video once where I told one of my friends who worked for our company that I have a life insurance policy where they were the beneficiary. Like if something happened to me, it was my friend who doesn't have like any safety net whatsoever, no family. And I just always would think like, oh, if I died, like they'd be totally screwed. Like what if they couldn't have a job anymore, whatever. So I had a life insurance policy and had them as the beneficiary, and people literally posted it saying, I took out a life insurance policy on my friend, so if they died, I profited. And I'm like, other way around, you fucking psychopaths. I cared about my friend, and I wanted her to be protected in case something happened, because I knew she didn't have a safety net. So wild, though. People just make shit up. Oh, hydrate. I'll do it. Yeah, the strike was supposed to be for the Democrats not to cave and fund ICE. But they did anyway, so they did it before the strike even happened. I like Dollhouse too. I like all that shit. That's like my favorite genre of shit. Oh my god, more. Of course the fucking Democrats did. Of course they caved. Blech. Okay, so let's get back into this 4chan shit. Let's go. Oh, here we go. We got some, this is new. I adore him. It's like having an older brother, said Catherine Rumler, who served as Associate White House Counsel to former President Bill Clinton and counsel under former President Barack Obama of Epstein in a 2015 email. Rumler made the comment after Epstein offered to buy her a first-class ticket to Europe. She's currently Chief Legal Officer and General Counsel at Goldman Sachs. She said in 2023 she regretted ever knowing Epstein. I'm sure she did not. But okay. Online habits. This is about him getting banned. Epstein also visited the Sprawling Messages of 4chan, a message board site founded by the 15-year-old Christopher Poole in 2003. The forum was intended to be an English-language version of the Japanese forum 2channel, where Japanese comics and cartoon series in particular were discussed. It quickly developed into a broader platform for all kinds of topics. 4chan was the birthplace of numerous internet memes, but also became controversial due to the distribution of illegal content and announcements of shooting incidents that took place in real life. Epstein sent his last known girlfriend, Karina Shuliak, an email in 2017 with a link to a 4chan thread featuring user-made pornographic videos of the animatronic characters from the horror video game Five Nights at Freddy's. Of course, Five Nights at Freddy's. The subject line was, amazing animations. An email to a redacted recipient was included in the release with that subject line and a 4chan link. Discovering that Epstein looked at and shared porn based on the horror game Five Nights at Freddy's is far from the worst piece of information to come out of the Epstein email, said Zach Sweezen in a piece from Kotaku this week. But it is a strange piece of information I didn't know before, and now I do. In addition to being a 4chan visitor, Epstein met with Poole himself in 2011, the new documents revealed per The Spectator. An email exchange between Epstein and Boris Nikolic, included in the files, does reference Moot, the name Poole goes by online. Epstein said he liked Mimit a lot and that he drove him home when asked how he liked Moot. Little about the encounter or their subsequent meetings is known, but on the day of his first audience with Epstein, Poole chose to relaunch the politically incorrect board, said The Spectator. So people are talking about this. They're saying that this was because of Jeffrey Epstein. We don't know that. That's speculation. But the day they first met, Poole did relaunch Politically Incorrect. The subforum was initially set up as a containment board to keep extremist posts separate from other subforums, yes. It is now the forum's most active place. Hagen's work argues that 4chan has become a home for far-right posts and is what holds the movement together. His work also focused on how messages on the board systematically portray certain groups as enemies, including Jewish people, immigrants, and women. And this is what we mean, too, when people are like, how could those places be Nazis? They're Jewish, like about Ukraine and Zelensky and Kolomoisky and all that stuff. It's like, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, the new form of Nazism actually is compatible with Jewish people participating in it, as we have seen, right? With Israeli people participating in it, as we have seen. That's not a deal breaker anymore. So we know Kolomoisky was literally funding Nazi groups in Ukraine. That's what this looks like sometimes. You could be a Mossad agent and be active in a board talking about how Jewish people are the enemy. It's very, very politically inconsistent ideology. See, U.S. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche said the DOJ's obligations under the Epstein Files Transparency Act were completed with the Friday dump of documents. Members of Congress can request to view parts redacted from public release. Okay, so very, very interesting. And yeah, so what we see is a lot of people taking this information and sensationalizing it, saying that I've seen people be like, Jeffrey Epstein created the entire alt-right movement, blah, 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 blah. I don't think that that's true. I think he was a participant in it, a purveyor of it. But I think American culture created that. And I think, like, look, we, like, love great man theory, and that applies to bad men, too. We want to believe that everything that happens in life, this is what capitalism teaches us. Great men and great ideas motivate society. And that's not what we believe as Marxists. We believe material conditions motivate society. But capitalists believe great men and great ideas move society. And that can be good or that can be bad. You can have a bad great man, you can have a good great man. It's the same ideology that leads Democrats to vilify Donald Trump, for example. They're like, he's the face of evil. If you get rid of Donald Trump, then all the problems go away. Jeffrey Epstein was the face of evil. You get rid of Jeffrey Epstein, all the problems go away. And we know none of this shit is true. We know as long as you still have capitalism, you're going to have 1 million Donald Trumps. You're going to have 1 million Jeffrey Epsteins. And I think this is really what motivates, though, people to make this content sensationalizing Jeffrey Epstein as though he is a unique evil and not a symptom of the society that capitalism creates and allows to flourish and really thrive. So I think that that's a really interesting consideration for all of this, but maybe also, yeah, the motivating factor why people make these videos being like, Jeffrey Epstein created the alt-right pipeline. And it's like, no, the material conditions of the working class created the alt-right pipeline because people do not have enough shit to live. They don't have what they need to live. They are struggling. They feel unfulfilled. They feel depressed. They feel desolate. And we have a government structure, a power structure that is creating these divisions among the working class, telling you your problem's not your boss, your problem's your immigrant neighbor, your problem is trans people, your problem is those fucking bitch women. Like, that is what society is telling you to kind of alleviate any of the pressure from the ruling class. To tell you, don't blame us. Let each other, fight each other. And that is the material conditions that lead to the creation of the alt-right as we see it today. We know that far-right fascism, right, is capitalism in crisis. We know that as the crises of capitalism continue to compound, as capitalism continues to collapse on itself over and over and over again, we're going to see more of these far-right extremist ideas emerge. So I think part of the sensationalizing of Epstein is part of that idea that it's one bad man. But when we look at it, we see that it's symptomatic of a bad system that creates bad things, right? Ramadrian, similar to Israelis or Zionists who have a problem with Netanyahu, but not the existence of Israel itself. Exactly. They're like, well, Netanyahu's the problem. And it's like, well, no, this fucking country should not exist, right? Material conditions created this. Yes, exactly. So I don't know. It's very weird and dystopian to me, the Epstein files, the bad men, the great bad men of history. It's almost like, oh, hi, Glam Shatterskull. Hello, welcome. Yeah, we've only been on Twitch for a month, so we're just starting out and building, but I think it's really fun and good. And we do the news. We do current events here, which is not what I usually do content-wise, so I'm a little out of my wheelhouse, but I think it's interesting. But yeah, no, I just think that that's like it's like a scapegoat. It allows us to take all the problems with society, right? You look at like a society that commodifies women, capitalism that rewards you for commodifying women, women who are not even able to really experience what it's like to have and achieve full personhood a lot of times under capitalism, because so much of your daily life is motivated by your relationship to money, and money is controlled by men in very many circumstances, right? And we look at this and we're able to scapegoat all these problems onto Jeffrey Epstein and the guys in the Epstein files. But it's like, there are guys not in the Epstein files doing this exact same shit around you all the time. right? This is a societal problem. This is a cultural problem created by capitalism. And I think as long as we scapegoat these individual people, it kind of prohibits us from doing the systemic analysis, right? So I think that's really interesting. And it's good to hold people accountable. It's good to be like, yes, these men are bad, comma, but also we need to understand the conditions that create them so we don't create more of them. Oh yeah, that's right. Kelly makes content. Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, just get rid of Trump. Then it's okay again. It's like, well, it's not fucking okay. We have a system that allowed us to create Trump. And before Trump, there was George W. Bush, right? And before him, there was, George Bush Sr., there was Reagan, there was Nixon. Like, they just keep coming, and it's not just the Republicans, obviously. We know it's the Democrats, too. Oh, wait, one more. Okay. Let's see what else we got over here. We have a few extra articles we can talk about. Not related to this. Not related to Epstein. I think we need a palate cleanser. That's just other shit that's fucked up. That will probably make me cry. Carnell's AD, Bush Sr. is implicated in the files. The one thing I found of Bush Sr. was not actually credible. It was somebody who had been deemed not credible. We talked about that a little bit earlier, actually. Let me see if I can, find it really fast. I don't know if we'll be able to find it on here because the main file was removed. So I don't know about that. I just want to see. Also, just searching Bush in the Epstein files. I'm like, what are we gonna get? But yeah, there's a lot of stuff like this that makes it really hard to go through anything. How many results are there? 1,523. Yeah, we're not gonna be able to find them. Yeah, so I'm not sure. Everything I saw was one specific incident, so maybe there's more, but that's the only thing I saw. Separatists in Canada. Yes, let's look at both. Let's start with the separatists in Canada. Trump officials have met with Canadian separatist groups that want to break off from the rest of the country, report says. Okay. And there is a group, if you guys don't know, they call them Maple MAGAs, of Canadians who support Donald Trump. I sponsored somebody's citizenship in the United States from Canada, and their mom was a Maple MAGA. And I met their mom. It was just like, what the fuck is happening? So, yeah, sorry about the heavy essay talk. I don't love talking about that stuff. No, don't thumbs up that. Don't thumbs up heavy essay talk. Oh my God. So, there is this whole contingency of far-right weirdos who are obsessed with Donald Trump in Canada that I learned about. Trump administration officials have reportedly held several secret meetings with far-right Canadian separatists who want to break free from the rest of the country. U.S. officials met with the leaders of the Alberta Prosperity Project, I don't know why I said it like that, a fringe right-wing group of separatists who want the oil-rich Western province to become independent, 3 times in Washington since last April. News of the stealthy meetings come at a time of especially high tensions between the U.S. and its northern neighbor. During a speech in Davos at the World Economic Forum, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney spoke of a rupture in the world order and what appeared to be a veiled attack on the trade and foreign policies of President Donald Trump, but without mentioning him by name. Current tensions have only helped the separatists who are trying to capitalize on the friction, according to the report. The U.S. is extremely enthusiastic about a free and independent Alberta. The group's legal counsel, Jeff Rath, told the Financial Times after attending the meetings. We're meeting very, very senior people, leaving our meetings to go directly to the Oval Office, he claimed. The group hopes to have another meeting in Washington next month to ask for a $500 billion credit facility, which will help fund the province if an independence referendum passes. However, a referendum has not yet been called. Both the White House and State Departments told the Financial Times that no commitments were made to the group during these meetings. Administration officials meet with a number of civil society groups. No such support or any other commitments were conveyed, a White House spokesperson said. A person familiar with the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent's thinking told the outlet that he and his team were unaware of any credit facility request and did not plan to engage in the issue. Carlo Dade, director of international policy at the School of Public Policy at the University of Calgary, reportedly described the separatist group as attention seekers. I mean, not no. The Americans are more than happy to continue to play Canadians off each other, Dade said. Correct. News of the meetings come after, and also this is what we do everywhere, just by the way. How ridiculous this is. This is as ridiculous as the fucking Taiwan independence movement is. Like, all these weird independence movements, it's always this kind of bullshit. Divide and conquer is what we do. We take whatever small group of fringe lunatics we can find, and we're like, see, they want to be free. And this is what I tell people. Do you know the percent of people in Taiwan that want to immediately pursue independence from China? It is 4.3%. It is 4.3%. And we have built it up into this whole free Tibet, Freudian slip, free Taiwan movement, right? And that's like what we're doing with Canada. Canada's like, that's a group of like 12 fringe lunatics. We don't fucking know them. And the United States is like, we are happy to support their separatist movement. Absolutely wonky. Posture check. Oh, okay. All right. News of the meetings came after Besant sparked excitement amongst Alberta separatists last week when he described the oil-rich province as, quote, a natural partner for the U.S. during an interview with right-wing streaming channel Real America's Voice. Great. How do we get as big as Real America's Voice? The Albertans are very independent people, Besant said. There's a rumor that they may have a referendum on whether they want to stay in Canada or not. I wonder who's behind that referendum. The Alberta Prosperity Project is looking to get 177,000 signatures to bring an independence petition to the legislature before May. The group declined to say how many signatures it currently has. I'm guessing 12. I don't know. The overwhelming majority of Albertans are not interested in becoming a U.S. state, a spokesperson for Alberta's Premier Daniel Smith said. You were just reading To Kill a Nation, The Attack on Yugoslavia. I've been reading that too, actually. I've been wanting to read it. Meanwhile, an Alberta Forever Canada counter petition opposing independence received 438,000 signatures by the deadline last year. So this is how the United States works. Let this be a lesson whenever you hear about us wanting to support an independence movement somewhere. It's 12 weird dudes, and the rest of the country is like, what the fuck are you talking about? We don't want that. The same was East Turkmenistan in Xinjiang in China. The Uyghur Muslims do not want an independence movement in China. We made that up because of like 20 weirdos. 20 weirdos in that region were like, what if we did this? And the United States was like, yeah, do you want tanks? We'll back it with tanks. I mean, it's just psychotic behavior. Very, very wild. Tensions have been high between the U.S. and Canada in recent months. Last weekend, Trump threatened to impose a 100% tariff on goods imported from Canada if the country went ahead with a trade deal with Beijing, even as Carney has said Canada has no interest in negotiating a comprehensive deal with Beijing. Trump's push to acquire Greenland, which is a semi-autonomous territory of Denmark, alarmed Canada. I think it alarmed us all. Which shares a 1,864-mile maritime border with the territory. The president has also repeatedly needled Canada over its sovereignty, suggesting that it become the 51st state of the United States. You know who also does this? Is the MAGA communists. You know that, right? The MAGA communists also think Canada should become the 51st U.S. state. Very, very interesting. He also shared an AI-generated image on social media last week showing a map of the U.S. that included Canada, Venezuela, Greenland, and Cuba as part of the U.S. territory. Wait, we have to fucking see this. This fucking psycho. Trump redraws map. Yeah, where... Is this it? Is this what he's fucking doing here? No. Where is it? Oh, we have to go on Instagram to look, don't we? Where is it? Go away. Go away, work account. I hate fucking Instagram so much. Okay, but why isn't anybody showing me the map? Oh, yeah, East Turkestan. Thank you, I misspoke. Thank you, Turkmenistan is a country. That's a real country, East Turkestan. Thank you. Thank you for correcting that. Yeah, that would have been confusing. No, I appreciate you fixing that for me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Is it this? But this doesn't show Venezuela. Huh. Very, very weird, whatever it is. Okay. I just scrolled past it? Somebody link it. Somebody link it to the image in the chat. Wait, Turkmenistan 2.0. Okay, then no. To East Turkestan. East Turkestan. I'm so sorry. It's so fake that I'm like, the real country must be it. No, absolutely not. Why do liberals refer to Venezuela as Vuvuzuela? We actually, so usually communists do that to make fun of liberals. We joke about how they just like blabber gibberish about Venezuela. They always have. And so we started calling it Vuvuzela. Like, because that's how liberals would refer to it. It was just like, they don't even know what they're talking about kind of vibes. Yellow mustard color. Is it this one? This one. What? This says Nigeria. Are we coming from... We're kind of coming from Nigeria, too. Huh. That can't be it. Some of them, they are what I'm looking for. Show me more. See more anyway. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, here we go. Thanks, guys. Thanks. Oh my god. Oh my god. Why is it worse than I thought it would be? Why is this so much worse? Why does it look so fucking dumb? Why does it look so fucking dumb? Oh, it's so embarrassing. I gotta tell you, from an aesthetic standpoint, I kind of thought American fascism would have a stronger look. I did not anticipate American fascism would have this very Microsoft Paint kind of vibe to it. Not really what I thought would happen. Yeah, it looks like an Americana bathing suit that like a hot trashy girl from your hometown wears on the 4th of July. If a map was a slap bracelet, yeah. This is embarrassing. It's not fascism. It's just the Greater USA Project. You're so right. Greater Israel, we've got that. No Hugo Boss here, right? Nope. We didn't even try to come up with this, cultivate a strong image. That would be too gay. Oh my god, this is so fucking embarrassing. This country's so, oh my god, it's so embarrassing. That was it. Ugh. Everything we do is just fucking pathetic. Ugh. Okay. The thing that's annoying about it is that it's so fucking pathetic, but then also not feckless. It's like, it's violent, it's aggressive, it's destructive, it's deadly, it harms everyone, comma, and it's fucking ridiculous. It's like both of them at the same time, like, that's not fair. That's not fair. Why is it both? I don't like that. It should just be one. It's kind of like how the CIA is always like bumbling and almost killing people and can never pull it off. But then like once every 20 operations, it's actually the most fucked up, deadly, destructive thing you've ever heard of. And like thousands of people die and our entire country doesn't exist anymore. Like, what is that? I don't like that. It's very destabilizing. Okay, we got a highlighted message from a mad scene. Trump sent an email to his MAGA mailing list subscribers threatening to send ICE if they don't take his survey, which requires you to donate to him. Shut up. Wow. Your file says you're a top MAGA patriot, but my records to my survey still say response pending. Don't tell me you're an illegal alien? That cannot be true. This is your final moment to prove me wrong, please. Are you a proud American citizen or does ICE need to come track you down? They do camp. They do love camp. Why did they design an email blast in Microsoft Word? Why? Take citizens only survey. It's probably works on people. People are like, hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. Trump is a huge musical fan. I mean, definitely. Fucking freak. Kelly Green impact font certainly is a choice. Right? Like, it is. It's impact. Yep. Ham on pizza. This is so crazy. It's cheaper this way. 5 billion more to Israel. We design all the email blasts in Microsoft Word. Earlier this month, the president sent this message. I'm sitting here alone. It sounds very porny at first. In the war room. Okay. Fighting for you. All right. The rest of the staff went home hours ago. It's just me on one dying laptop, and the 72-hour countdown clock to my first mid-month deadline of the year just rang. Why is it like a softcore porn setup? On Sunday, the PAC sent out another bizarre email that had, "I want to try to get into heaven" as the subject line. I want to try to get to heaven. No. But then it's evil. But then it kills people. But then it kills 100 people in Venezuela. So you can't even laugh at it. It's like, I'm losing my mind. This is crazy. This is not okay. I came millimeters from death when that bullet pierced through my skin. I forgot that he was getting shot. I forgot he got shot. I forgot about that. We don't know about that. We're sitting here in the war room fighting for you. I mean, this is literally, it's like so bizarre. My triumphant return to the White House was never supposed to happen. But I believe that God sent me for one reason: to make America great again. I wasn't supposed to beat crooked Hillary in 2016, but I did. I wasn't supposed to secure the border and build the greatest economy in history, but I did. He did not. I certainly wasn't supposed to survive an assassin's bullet, but by the grace of Almighty God, I did. I doubt this man believes in God. Also, I really think the religious thing is such a grift from these right-wing politicians. Like, there's no way this guy fucking believes in God. Can you imagine Donald Trump ever being in a church? Do you think this man goes to church? Like, I don't think this man believes in God. I don't think so. So now, I have no other choice but to answer the call to duty. But I can't do it alone. Friend, you've been with me through everything. You were there when they launched the Russia hoax, the first impeachment, the second impeachment, the rigged 2020 election, the raid on Mar-a-Lago, the arrest and mugshot at the Fulton County Jail, the removal from the Colorado ballot, the sham cases in D.C., Florida, New York, D.C., listed twice, the first assassination attempt, the second assassination attempt. I missed that there were two. First time chatting on Crisis. Welcome. What was the second? Was that the second? What were the assassination attempts? I thought there was just the one. Okay. And so much more. The second was the dude in a bush at the golf course. Wait, I know I missed this. No. Golf course bush assassination attempt. When I tell you I do not pay attention to this man, I try to avoid him at all costs. If leftist figures started staging failed assassination attempts like Trump, we'd have so much more street cred. That's so true. Also, I saw this fucking TikTok the other day that pissed me the hell off. You want to talk about compatible left? Literally, this person was like, tagged me, hashtag Madeline Pendleton. And it's like, this is how you be a good communist. We support... Oh, the first one was, we don't support these people as good communists. Literally just like every living communist leader of a country. Okay, there. Every living communist leader of a country. And then Putin. Because somebody doesn't understand the USSR fell in 1991. Whatever. Okay, fine. And then the second page, it was like a slide. It was like, these are the communists we do support. And it was all communists who are dead. All of them unironically dead. And it had like 25,000 likes. And I was like, this doesn't even fucking make sense. First of all, you got fucking Thomas Sankara on the people you support, and then you got fucking Kim Jong-un on the people you don't support. Thomas Sankara was an ally of North Korea. Burkina Faso and North Korea had a fucking Burkina Faso-North Korea Friendship Association. You got fucking Black Panthers on the second slide. I think they're Black Panthers. They fucking worked with North Korea. Like, what are you fucking talking about? This is crazy. And it was just like, you're literally saying the only communist you're allowed to be or support is one that does not exist anymore. And this is like peak compatible left. This is peak it. You're only allowed to be a communist theoretically. And they're really trying to control and corral what it means to be a communist. And that's why it's important for us to defend actually existing socialism. What do you mean I'm only allowed to be a communist theoretically? What do you mean I'm only allowed to support dead people, dead communists? It's absolutely crazy. So yeah, they are going to hate you as a communist as long as you're alive. And the second you die, they're going to put your face on a fucking t-shirt, make a martyr out of you, and try to tell people that you weren't actually that radical. And everybody that you looked up to or worked with or admired, they're going to strip that from your story. And they're going to say that you were actually just a really progressive liberal. Yeah, the only good commie is a dead commie. But this is from somebody who said they were a communist. They were compatible left, not a real fucking communist. And we need to start to call these people out. When we say this shit, we got to start to be like, so I'm confused. You're saying the only good communist is a dead communist? Because why are we only allowed to support the dead ones? Why can't we support the living ones? How does that fucking make sense? These people are insane. They're all Trotskyist idiots, basically. Chomsky saying Venezuela is fake socialist. No, I did not see, but that makes sense. He's a fucking anarchist. Yes, we're converting people. I'm so glad. So, golf course Bush assassination attempt. I just want to look at the pictures, I think, real fast. Oh. What? Why does he look like it's 1985? There's a very 80s look on this man. It's kind of working for him. How did I miss this? I feel like this image is such a vibe. This had a lot of meme potential and we missed it. Manufacturing the age of consent. You're new at this. Why does everyone hate Trotskyists? Let me tell you. Let me tell you about this. Do we talk about it before we finish the Donald Trump Microsoft Word email? I do TikTok and Twitch. I like Twitch better. I want to move more to Twitch than TikTok. Okay, let's talk about the Trotsky thing. So, Trotskyists are communists. They're Marxists. They consider themselves Marxist-Leninists. But the thing is, Trotskyists basically believe in this concept of like permanent revolution, like forever revolution. This idea that no single country can do socialism, that you need to have the entire country doing it or it doesn't count and it's not real. And this ends up doing two things. Number one, it discredits socialist movements in countries. And they're always like, that's not real socialism. That's not communism. None of these places are communism. And number two, it creates this kind of communist death cult, right? You're like, no, every place has to constantly be struggling in a state of revolution for this to be real. If you are a socialist and you have a successful revolution where you are, you immediately need to be exporting your revolution to every country nearby you. And you can't do imperialism as a socialist, right? Because imperialism is the exportation of finance capital. But what most average people think of as imperialism is what the end result of Trotskyism is. So what, you're sending tanks and military guys into other countries that are not ready, they are not sufficiently class conscious enough to have a revolution, and you're forcing a revolution on them against their will. It's this very deranged idea. So the way this manifests is that if you meet a Trotskyist, any place, they're like, that, not communism, not socialism, no, and they won't support it. And they will be constantly trying to discredit any socialist project that exists, because in their heads, socialism is this mythical idealist, ironically enough, we don't believe in utopia or idealism as communists. It's this mythical idea that you just always are fighting for, and everybody has to do it all at once, or it doesn't count, and it's not there, and we didn't do it at all. And it's very deranged. It's a very deranged process. So I will say, out here in California, we're doing a big left unity movement. I do events and stuff with Trotskyist orgs. They're out there. They have good critiques of capitalism. Their critiques of capitalism are solid. Everything beyond that, we're not going to agree with. So I would rather you join a Trotskyist org than no org if you didn't have a lot of options, but I would always rather you join a Marxist-Leninist org if you have the chance. So yeah. And Trotsky did betray a lot of people. Can you explain how Trotskyism is linked to anarcho-communism? Can you be both of them mutually exclusive? Are anarchos Trots or all Trots? No, those are two different belief systems. So anarcho-communists believe that you can have a revolution and pretty much immediately go into a stateless society. Trotskyists don't. Trotskyists basically believe that you can't have a revolution and do anything immediately, that you need to be exporting your revolution to everywhere all at once. So Trotskyists won't be so opposed to the idea of a state, right? But they will believe that you're not actually doing communism unless you are aggressively exporting your revolution everywhere, and that you will not achieve socialism until everybody's able to do it. And I will say the Trotskyist perspective, which is that if you have a revolution and you are a socialist country or you're a country under communist leadership, your revolution will forever be threatened by capitalist countries. That is correct. They will be constantly trying to undo it and fight it. And you'll always have to contend with capitalist countries, will force you to make certain international compromises, etc. That part is true. but just reasonably, just practically speaking, Trotskyism is not a viable, it's a utopian idealist ideology, and it's harmful to people. Malrish says, you can keep your Mensheviks if you want, but you need to keep your ice picks handy. My thoughts when asked about the Caucasus and the DSA. Yes, I agree. People will literally lie and say they're a Marxist-Leninist organ and they're actually Maoists or something. Exactly. And Maoists, for those of you who don't know, Maoists are Marxist-Leninists, but they believe that China was only valid up to Mao. And that once they introduced market liberalization reforms to perfect their state capitalist stage, that suddenly it stopped being Marxist or something, which is totally bullshit. That's totally not real. Marx acknowledged that you would need to go through capitalism in order to get to socialism. Lenin acknowledged that state capitalism is the first stage of socialism, especially for countries who have their revolution in a feudal state, as China did. So it really is just this idea that whatever's actually tangibly existing, no, that doesn't count. And the only thing that counts is a made-up imaginary thing in my head. And that's why it's important for us to defend actually existing socialism, to tell people actually existing socialism does work. You've been heavily propagandized about it, but it works everywhere it's been tried. And this idea that you're only going to have this imaginary made-up communism. You can only have communism if you're looking up to leaders who are dead. You can only have communism if it's an imaginary version of communism that's basically impossible to pull off. You can only have communism if it's a country that only did it for a while and they don't do it anymore because they were about to fucking collapse before they made the changes necessary. Like, that is very, very harmful thinking. That is anti-communist thinking. That is compatible left thinking. It really is just an excuse for chauvinism. I agree with that as well, Mamish. Chinese Mustard says, if we were able to get a mass socialist movement in the U.S., do you think any other country would interfere the way the U.S. has in other countries, or would we primarily be facing American ops? So if we look at the USSR, what we see is that we actually had a coalition. The white armies were coalitions of capitalists from other countries. So I believe we would have a white army situation here where it would be American capitalists, definitely, but there would also be European capitalists. There would be Israeli capitalists, certainly. There would be a coalition of capitalists from other countries with private militias coming together to fight against a socialist revolution here. I believe that. The critique of the DSA, they're democratic socialists, so we have a different understanding of socialism than the DSA. The way that Marx and Engels talked about democratic socialists versus Marxists is that sometimes our goals and interests align, but ultimately at the end of the day, they think you can vote your way out of capitalism and we do not. And because they think you can vote your way out of capitalism, they often capitulate to existing kind of parliamentary structures, and they end up capitulating to capitalism over and over again, and often throw Marxists under the bus. So we're skeptical of them, basically. And here in the United States, the DSA arguably is not even democratic socialists. They're more social democrats, which is just wanting to do capitalism, but with a larger social safety net, like the Nordic model or something like that. And Misova says, what is state capitalism and how can it be a kind of capitalism if there is no capitalist class? So state capitalism is basically the state administering capitalism, a socialist state administering capitalism. So it's capitalism with a centrally planned economy, not fully centrally planned, but with planning in the economy present, with a larger social safety net, and with the goal of transitioning away from capitalism into socialism. So they do still have a capitalist owning class in the state capitalist stage of the transition into socialism. But then, as we see in China right now, they are seeking to undo the massive wealth inequality created by the state capitalism phase. And they have effectively eradicated a third of the billionaire class in just the past 5 years alone. And they think that they will be able to move out of state capitalism and into socialism by the year 2050. Sorry, just a little bit of, we do a little bit of Q&A in there before we get back into this. So the difference between Dem Soc and Soc Dem, Democratic Socialists is the first one. Social Democrats is the second one. Democratic Socialists believe you can vote your way into socialism. Social Democrats are capitalists who want to be nicer about it. We argue a lot of times they're the same. No, I'm not posting on Rednote or Redbook. It's just too much for me to keep up with. I have Twitch though, but I also have set up all my videos under 3 minutes to export to YouTube Shorts. So if you use that, I think they're there. Tiamani, I appreciate my local Trot org because they organized the first demonstrations of the Gaza genocide. That movement is no longer attached to them in any way, but they were the only non-Palestinians that helped building that movement in my city. They also keep handing me zines that I do not want. Yes, I think this is great. If you are involved in activism, nobody involved in activism will tell you that Trotskyist orgs are not active on the ground. They are active on the ground. They do organize protests. They do have good critiques of capitalism. They will try to convince you socialism that actually exists on the planet is evil and to trust in their mythical headcanon version of socialism instead, and that shit is always fucking annoying. And they are well known for making newspapers. They're obsessed with fucking newspapers. It's like their thing. I don't know. All they do is give out newspapers. It's wild. So it's very interesting. Dem folks will shit all over absolutely existing socialism and then be mad at people who don't want to fuck with them. Exactly. Read the zines. Do not read the zines. You do not want to read the zines. Reading the zines is just like, here's why China is capitalist. And you're like, bro, I know you've read Marx. Why are you doing this? This doesn't even make sense. Claiming China's capitalist is like shit you do when you've never read Marx, not like shit you do when you understand Marxism. And that's what's weird. At a certain point, I'm like, I know they understand Marxism, so why are they lying? Why are they fronting? Why are they pretending they don't? It's wild. It's absolutely bizarre to me. Very, very weird. So, okay. Anyway, actually, this is interesting. This person said Trotskyist orgs tend to almost always be exclusively white people. I will say, I don't know about that because I've never been in a Trotskyist org, but Marxist-Leninist orgs are the most representative of their community out of any type of org I've ever been in. So when I came to a Marxist-Leninist org for the first time, I was like, oh, most of the people here are not white. There's a large representation of people that match the demographics of our community. Like I'm in LA, so there's a large percentage of people who are Latino. It's pretty well represented. And I really do believe that Marxist-Leninism is the ideology of the people seeking liberation the most. Malrich says, the majority of DSA you've interacted with are anti-electoralist. It probably helps that I'm the chair of the education committee. That probably does help, yeah. And again, for the DSA, that's not something I would do if you had the option. If DSA is all that's near you, though, join it. I think I would rather you be in DSA than not be in an org at all, certainly. You know, I also know Marxists that caucus in the DSA. There are people who are more radical than the traditional DSA route in the DSA. So, and I would also rather you join a Trotskyist org than not be in an org. Right? And I think that's like important to note. It's like, I can be like, well, here's why I think you should be Marxist-Leninist instead, because that's my ideology. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I think it's better to do something, to just do something, right? Especially the stage we're at right now, fighting about the implementation of our ideal revolution. We're not at the stage. We're in the education and mass outreach stage right now. So even though those aren't my ideal things and I don't like them and I might make fun of them a little bit, the people I know who are in them make fun of them a little bit too. We all make fun of even our own orgs a little bit from time to time. It's okay to do, and it is just more important that you join an org, that you get involved, and, you know, it's ultimately not a reason to not join something, I think. So I don't know. You're better off starting your own thing than joining a trot org. Maybe that's true. Maybe that's true. I don't know. But it might help you to have org background and experience before you start your own. That could be true. Humble suggestion after you mentioned YouTube. People on Twitch manage to go live on YouTube and Twitch at the same time and have a combined chat. Maybe look into that. Okay, I'll look into that. That's good. Seems like DSA is the only group visible, but joining and finding comrades is the best bet. Yeah, I mean, depending on where you are, I will say if you're national groups, FRSO and PSL probably have a presence where you are. Those are national Marxist-Leninist orgs. Those are the two national Marxist-Leninist orgs I'm aware of. There's also probably, if you live in a big city, I live in LA, there's probably a bunch of local ones too. But I would say that for most city areas in the US, you could probably find PSL or FRSO as well. And those are Marxist-Leninist. You went to a PSL thing yesterday, the demographics were mostly POC. Yeah, they're Marxist-Leninist orgs, so that makes sense. You really like the idea of Marxist-Leninist ideologies. However, you earn the top 3% for your age range. Is there a way I could divert my privilege to benefit the cause? Yes. Also, communism's not a poverty cult. It is not a poverty cult. Like, the first thing you said is you earn the top 3% of your age range. You're a worker. You go to work and you earn a paycheck, and that is how you get paid. You're one of us. It doesn't matter if you make minimum wage, if you make $500,000 a year from your job, you are still a worker. And ultimately, it's the owning class that attempts to tell you that there's some big difference between you. And obviously, there is a difference in terms of your financial comfort and your financial stability. You're going to have a better quality of life making $500,000 a year even as a wage worker than making minimum wage, and we know that. But your class interests are still better aligned with a person making minimum wage than with fucking Jeffrey Epstein. I'll tell you that right now. You could still lose your job. You could still be shit out of luck. Ultimately, you do have more in common with other wage earners, even if your income is higher. And in a Marxist-Leninist org where there is discipline of understanding of Marxism, nobody will judge you for having a good income. Absolutely nobody in those spaces will judge you for that. It's not like where you enter a liberal space and there's not really a strong ideology. People don't know what they're mad about in a liberal space, right? They're just like, I'm mad at something. My neighbor who's an orthodontist communist is the wealthy and I must eat him. And it's like, well, no, your neighbor who's an orthodontist is also a wage worker just with a higher salary than you. So first of all, I just want to say that communism is not a poverty cult. And second of all, you are a worker. You are a wage worker. Now, the third thing is that most communist orgs are self-funded. I mean, they're all self-funded. So you all pay a percentage of your monthly incomes usually to the org, and you can decide how much you want to pay. So whatever feels comfortable to you, you can give to the org, and the org will make good use of it. So that's another way you can help. Marxist Gamer Zero, how long going to be in the education stage? It's been forever. We're getting there. Remember the numbers. 2/3 of Gen Z has good feelings about socialism. 1/3 has good feelings about communism, but that's just Gen Z. So, we're getting there. We're getting there. It's happening. It's happening a lot in my lifetime, so that's very, very promising. Do I have any suggestion on how to join orgs as a housebound person? Yes, Bisco Witch. Look online, because even if you can't be a full member of an org, because maybe they require in-person stuff, a lot of orgs are trying right now to build periphery systems that allow you to participate in whatever capacity you can. So I know PSL, for example, they have something called the Action Network, I think it's called. And that's something you can be a part of and do what you can. I think it's called the Action Network. Something like that. And most orgs have something like that. Some sort of action network that you can join and get involved or whatever you want, doing whatever you can from home. You could probably do like phone banking. I know my org, we're always looking for people to help do phone banking, text message outreach. When we were doing ICE coordination, we were texting people, that kind of stuff you can do from home for sure. Left comms, are they similar to trots or ancoms? Yes. Left com is like an umbrella for a non-Marxist Leninist communist. You're sorry to derail. Where can we buy your jewelry? It actually isn't even derailing. Most of these are these are all my designs. Yeah, this is my jewelry designs. This is what I do for my living. This is my job. I design clothes. 14 years ago, I started a worker collective founded on a socialist model. We're all worker owners there. And it's called Tunnel Vision. So you can buy it at shoptunnelvision.com. We're a very small business. So it is relevant. It's relevant to our relationship to the means of production. CPUSA, I used to be a part of CPUSA, and I did not like it, but I will say they've made a lot of changes in the past year, and it seems like they're going in a better direction. And I would still say, and I was in the Bay Area CPUSA that was more active than a lot of other spaces. New York's also pretty active for CPUSA. So I would say if that's all that's near you, that's not bad to join either. Yeah, PSL has really good visibility. I mean, you've seen Donald Trump freaking out, melting down about PSL. Donald Trump's melting down about PSL and Code Pink. Okay, we're still looking at the chat. Action Network's used by a bunch of leftist orgs. Yes, that's the thing. It's like Action Network. Yes. Most leftist orgs have an Action Network if they're big enough. You went to an ORC in Minnesota, they filmed Armenian protest. Some orgs have different policies about filming. So some orgs believe that you need to show up unapologetically as a communist and have maximum visibility. So because of that, they will film everything and post it intentionally. And that is based on some Leninism. That does have a place. That does come from some. Others will have more security culture and they'll say, we don't post it, we don't share it, we don't post your face. It depends on what org you're with and what your belief system is. So if security culture is important to you, try to look for that in an org, because some don't do that. Some are like, we need to be loud and proud and standing on business and say, yeah, we're communists. What about it? Yeah, we're out here. What about it? And so depending on your comfort level, it could go either way in that regard. All the Marxists you have met say CPOSA is Fed run. Okay, when I was at CPOSA, I would not say it was Fed run, but I left for a reason, is what I would say. I didn't feel that it was doing a lot. I didn't feel that it was particularly effective. I wanted to be more active and more involved, is my thing about it. All that orgs are valid except ACP and Bobby Vagal. Yeah, I agree with that. Can we quickly explain the concept of state capitalism from a Marxist-Leninist perspective? I have, yeah, you're right, but I'll do it again really, really fast. So Marxism, we often say, is anti-capitalist, but that's actually kind of a fallacy or misnomer. It's post-capitalist. So Marx hypothesized that you would need to go through a series, a process. Feudalism to capitalism to socialism. Now, you can't skip capitalism if you happen to have a worker revolution in a feudalist state. If you have a worker revolution in a feudalist state, you still need to do capitalism to be able to have the foundation to build socialism. So the USSR had a worker revolution in a feudalist state. China had a worker revolution in a feudalist state. A lot of countries have their worker revolutions in feudalist states. That doesn't mean they get to bypass capitalism. So that means that then you have a socialist government that needs to implement capitalism in order to pave the way, set the foundation, right, for socialism to emerge. So what they'll do is they'll try to have a semi-planned form of capitalism called state capitalism, which is the first stage of socialism. And they will also attempt to mitigate the more extreme ill effects of capitalism in that stage. So China, for example, is still in a stage of state capitalism, and it's taken them around 100 years. These are long, slow processes. So it's around 100 years, basically, to transition out of this. Even from a state capitalist perspective, China still managed to lift 800 million people out of poverty, to increase the quality of life for people above an American quality of life, to introduce massive sweeping worker protections. So the state capitalism we see when socialists are in control is not at all like the capitalism we experience without socialist control. So state capitalism is very specifically a socialist state, right? Attempting to implement capitalism with the goal of transitioning to socialism specifically. And Lenin writes about this, and you can read more about that if you would like. A lot of liberals in Seattle bash PSL for posting faces on socials as if the members are aware. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, when you go to coalition things, I will say some people are more comfortable having their faces posted and some aren't. And I usually just ask people. I usually don't film at anything, but some people are fine with that. So I went to a Hands Off Venezuela action a while ago that was specifically for the media because it was before the Venezuela bombing happened and the coup happened, or I guess not a regime change or whatever. So that was specifically for social media. It was a PR event to raise awareness about Venezuela. Everybody there knew they were going to get filmed. So that was something where I'm like, oh, okay, I don't have to ask people. Everybody who's here knows. And that's the one video I've posted on social media ever about an action I was at because everybody knew it was to raise awareness. It was for the news to publish. So sometimes you have situations like that. How can you get better at reading theory when the ADHD demons are killing your executive function? Join a reading group. Even if it's online, try to find a Zoom-based one if it's just online. Fork's so mad about something. But yeah, join a reading group and it'll help you engage more with the material. China executes billionaires for fraud. The U.S. makes serial killers president. Exactly. Does that mean the USSR should have been nearing the end of their state capitalism period before their collapse? So first of all, I just want to say they didn't collapse. The USSR did not collapse. It was intentionally dismantled by corrupt leaders. And it's hard to say because from the Khrushchev era on, there was a lot of revisionism. And I gotta go check on Fork. Give me a second. Hold on. We'll get to that. This is a good question though. Hold on. Sorry. Okay, you guys know I live on the same property as my best friend, and she has 2 dogs, and one of her dogs is Fork's best friend. So Fork heard her best friend yelling, like barking, and then Fork started barking too. That's what it was. Okay. So, oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm like still scrolled up in the chat. So, Laney School Tree TV, hi. Thank you for being here. All right. Scrolling down. She was gossiping with the neighbors. She really was, yeah. Okay, so the USSR did not collapse. It was intentionally dismantled by corrupt leadership. After the Stalin era of leadership in the USSR, we actually saw a lot of revisionism enter the USSR. Khrushchev famously threw Stalin under the bus and was like, everything bad that's ever happened was Stalin's fault, and here's some made-up stuff that wasn't even real that happened too. And we started to see a big era, basically, of revisionism, policy of revisionism. So it's hard to say if they should have been exiting their state capitalist stage, because it's hard to say what the motives of the Khrushchev and post-Khrushchev eras of leadership in the USSR truly were. Unfortunately, I would say if we had not seen a revisionist phase of the USSR follow after Stalin, we probably still would have the USSR today, right? And they would have been probably entering socialism around now or a few years ago. Yeah, probably. And it's very, very sad. Which country do we think has achieved the closest to a truly communist state? I mean, I support all actually existing socialism. I do. And I think the conditions for it are different everywhere. Fucking thumbs up. So, I'm pretty China-pilled, but there's even some things about China that I'm like, they're working on it. I'm not a Khrushchev fan, obviously. Okay, wait. Your mom keeps bothering you about buying a house and you've never really considered it as possible. But then you saw what I said about it and you're inspired to have a conversation with a real estate agent. Just, it's free to talk to people. And again, if you don't qualify to buy a house, don't be totally discouraged. I didn't qualify to buy a house. And so we got creative and we went in as a group and we bought a property with 2 units on it. My best friend lives in one. I live in another. It's like getting a house for half price. So that was very, very useful, obviously. Cuba, I would love to see. Here's the thing that's really heartbreaking about these places that have had worker revolutions and socialist states. We don't get to see what most of them look like unencumbered by U.S. destabilization. Like, imagine Cuba without the United States on its throat, right? Imagine Cuba without a blockade. Think about what they've managed to accomplish with the blockade. Think about how much more they could accomplish if the blockade wasn't there. And that's what's really heartbreaking, is we don't know. We don't know what these countries could accomplish if they weren't having to divert the majority of their resources to fighting off the world's largest superpower with nuclear weapons. And also if they were able to freely trade with the rest of the world. And that's one of the things that the destruction of the USSR brought along with it. It removed one of the most major trading partners from these other socialist places. Oh, you're low income and just got approved for a mortgage and a co-op. Yay, Raccoon Child. Are you in New York? I feel like I knew where you were, but I can't remember. So cool. To be frank, Stalin knew the army was pretty bad and paranoid, right? I don't blame Khrushchev for saying Stalin was bad and taking accountability for what the state was doing. I don't know. I mean, I think Stalin had some areas of time. Okay, here's the thing about Stalin. You can look at it and you be like, he went a little overboard. But then you look at what happened to the USSR after Stalin, and who's to say that it was overboard? Everything that the USSR had built was dismantled so quickly after Stalin. And the reason is because they stopped treating their revolution like it was active. They started acting like they'd already won. And they hadn't won. And that's the thing. Your revolution must be constant in the face of opposition, because opposition is constantly trying to destroy it. So it's hard to say in retrospect that Stalin was paranoid, because look what happened after Stalin. We don't have the USSR anymore. So that's hard. That's a hard position for me to personally take, right? I've never been in charge of a country. And all I can look at is the evidence. And when you show me a country that existed and was thriving under Stalin, and then post-Stalin began a slow decline into its own, not even obsolescence, but just into its own destruction, its own dismantling, I don't feel qualified to say that he was wrong to be concerned about that, right? So how could I say that, right? They went to, feudal farmers to putting people in space in one person's lifetime. I'm not saying generation anymore. Somebody corrected me that generation's only 15 years. I didn't realize that's in one person's lifetime, though, which is remarkable. And then after Stalin, what happened? The USSR was dismantled, and we saw one of the greatest catastrophes and loss of life in all of human history. People were selling their possessions out on the streets because they couldn't find jobs. People were dying deaths of despair from alcohol and drug addiction. Serial killers ran rampant. That's a whole thing that we never talk about. The true crime girlies don't want to talk about that. The spread of serial killers in post-USSR Russia. Generations 25 years? I don't know. Somebody told me 15. I got no clue. So, you know, Stalin and the Red Army saved Europe from Germany. Exactly. And you see a lot of people too get on the internet and be like, my family was this happened to my family under Stalin, this happened to my family under Stalin. And then you look into it and it's like, yeah, your family was fucking Nazi collaborators, dude. Like, what are we even talking about? What are we even fucking talking about right now? Why would you say this in public? Like, I had somebody today talking about what their family was up to in Finland against the USSR, and I'm like, dude, are you saying your family were Nazis? Like, what are you talking about? It's pretty wild. Alexandra Bruxo, first-time chat. People tend to carry the impression that a revolution is overnight and all internal contradictions are resolved. Capitalists eventually turn to fascism, no matter if they're liberal or conservative. Yes, and you have to constantly defend your revolution. You have to be vigilant about defending your revolution. That's the same reason China has the Great Firewall to keep Americans out. That's the same reason North Korea has an intranet, not an internet, right? And won't give up their nuclear weapons. There's reasons people do this. They're not crazy. And that's one of the reasons I tell people to read Bruce Cummings, even though he and I don't agree, even though I think he's kind of a chauvinist about Korean people, even though I think he just kind of gives the vibe of like a weird white boomer. He is correct in showing that North Korea is a rational state, that they are up against a lot, that they are forced with their back against the wall to defend themselves at all times. And I think that's important perspective for Americans to understand. Okay, we're going to finish up this Donald Trump fuckery. For those of you not familiar or just popped in, we were looking at Donald Trump's email he sent on January 25th, 2026 to his followers that says, I want to try to get into heaven. It's been very dramatic. We've learned so much. I wish the DPRK gave nukes to Cuba as well. Maybe they still can. We shall see. All right. So we're talking about, this is where I learned about the second Donald Trump assassination attempt. I only knew about the ear. I was not familiar with the Bush. I didn't know. I missed that. Actually, now that I'm saying it, I feel like maybe I did remember it happening in the news, but it wasn't a big deal. So just because I won in a historic landslide and have unleashed the golden age of America, that doesn't mean we can take our foot off the gas. He got shot in the bush. The forces that hate our country don't want a secure border or safe cities or high-paying jobs. I think this is really interesting, actually, because the safe cities things, the response that liberals always give is like, our cities are fine. It's fine. This is normal. And then they show you like a video of people like in active states of addiction-based crisis in cities and like sleeping in doorsteps. And they're like, this is fine. We're fine with this. And you're like, Jesus fucking Christ, man. I don't think that's quite the argument you want. This is not normal or fine, actually. So it's interesting when the girls fight about the cities because you're like, wow, it's two people so wrong about everything all the time. How are you both so wrong about this issue? The radical left lunatics want to stop MAGA. That's true. But we're not going to let them, no matter what. Let me make this solemn pledge to you. I will never surrender. You know what? I believe him. I gotta say, I believe the guy. I put my life on the line willingly because this is what I was made to do. But our movement, the beautiful MAGA movement, is powered by you. I gotta say, this is more emotional and soft than I was expecting from a Donald Trump email. I thought he would use stronger language, but this is like almost like you're getting like a pep talk from your mom before going into like your first day of junior high, right? This is like, it's very sensitive language. It's beautiful. It's powered by you. It's us together. It's very interesting. Oh, can our mods pin this? I'll pin it. Yes. It is fascist coded for sure, but it's like mama fascist, not daddy fascist. If that makes sense? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Does that make sense? Fascist mom, not fascist dad. It's kind of gender bend for me, I think. Every time they count us out, count you out, we come back. Bigger, better, stronger than ever. This is our moment to show the world that we will never back down, never give an inch, and never surrender in our fight to save this country. That's why I've launched a 24-hour Trump fundraising blitz. That's how you make America great again. You give that billionaire more money. I'm asking everyone to chip in $15 to make it one for the record books. This is like, it is very like televangelist coded. Like, Jesus is going to cover you in his love. He's going to save you. You are valid. You are worthy of Jesus' love. He loves you so much. You need to give me $15. What? Any problems? Like, this is so, like, I don't know if you guys remember the glory days of the televangelism, but I grew up in this, right? Like, born in the 80s, I hit this shit in my childhood. There would be some woman with huge hair, some guy with the whitest teeth you've ever seen, just too white, the teeth, with a microphone and a hazy filter on, and, like, a full, like, I don't even know, like, a sound stage with, like, a choir behind him, telling you that God was going to save you, but you needed to send them $15. Very, very interesting. So if you're with me all the way to the end, comma, period, join with millions of your fellow patriots by chipping in. Oh, it's not a period. It's underscore. My bad. I see you, MAGA. You were correct. Of your fellow patriots by chipping in $15 to keep the wins rolling. And they kind of hit you with the gambling language, too, there. One more spin, baby. One more spin. Sincerely, Donald J. Trump. Stand with Trump. And then this fuck ass signature that there's no way that says Trump. Like, what the fuck is this letter? Is that the J? What the fuck is this letter? What the fuck is this letter? Somebody tell me. Okay. Nancy Pelosi and Trump begging for money. Yup. Yeah, give your hard-earned money to this fucking billionaire pedophile who can't even sign his own name right. Probably the J. Is that a J? It's on Donald J. But then where's the T? Like, what's this shape? What's this triangle? Is that the T? Trump. I think that's it. It looks like a fucking sailboat. I don't even know what's happening. I hate this. By Chinese mustard. Okay. I don't know why his signature pisses me off so fucking much. It just pisses me off. I'm like, no. Ah! Okay. All right. So Donald Trump continues to lose his mind in new and probably increasingly effective ways. I'm sure he made a lot of money off of these deranged emails. And he's going to take over Canada, Alberta, Canada. Probably there's 12 guys there who are really into it. We might be at war with Canada. Who knows? I kind of feel like Carney would go to war with us. I feel like Carney would not back down. I don't know about you guys. But I feel like Carney would be like, that's it. Yeah, let's go to war. I don't think he'd let Donald Trump embarrass him is the thing. I think that guy has too much pride. So I think he would go to war. Very, very interesting. And then, of course, he is going to take out Cuba, which makes me fucking cry. Never trust a liberal. And obviously, yes, the Trump administration is actively seeking regime change in Cuba and hopes to cut a deal to end communist rule on the island by the end of the year, according to reports. Now, this actually does tie in, to tie today's session all together here. This does tie in with the Epstein files. One of the things, I'm going to look through my history and see if I can find it here for you guys. When I was trying to look up the North Korea stuff and the Epstein files, one of the things that did come up repeatedly was an email talking about how Donald Trump was open, basically, to regime change operations in other countries. It was a little more cryptic than that, but that was my interpretation of it. So I'm going to see if I can find it and show you guys this email, because it does have to do with Cuba as well. It involves Cuba as well. So give me just a second. I'm clicking here. Apparently I was doing this at 7:47 p.m. while my split pea soup was cooking. I made a delicious split pea soup, by the way. Very thrilling development. Let's see what we got. Boom, boom, boom. There's so much to open. Wow, I was really doing this for 20 minutes. I was doing like every single fucking file, man. Hold, please, hold, please, hold, please. And then I was on Twitter. It's kind of humbling looking at your web browser history. You guys know what I mean? It is. Okay, let's take, I can screen share what I'm looking at. Oh yeah, there's pages and pages of stuff like this with people's all censored out of it. Right? Pages and pages of stuff like this. Very, very, very wild. Yeah, who needs it when you never close a tab? That's smart. Okay, this is European markets up. This is news stuff. Let me know. Caribbean or New York. Oh yeah, this is an interesting one from Jeffrey Epstein. It says, one of the reasons I wanted to go to Mongolia was that the president there just came back from North Korea. I also saw Bill Richardson last week, and we discussed it as he's been there many times. However, he's a bit of a buffoon. And I'm like, that's very interesting. He's got some interest in North Korea, definitely. Let me find this. See, a lot of stuff is just stuff like this. This is just FBI Public Affairs news briefing. So that's from 2020, so that's after his arrest. Japan market update. Here we go. You got his little mugshot here. Okay, so this is an example of the Google alerts he had set up. Like, so this means that he set up an alert for a Harry Beller and allegation or arrest or bribe or convict or corrupt. So he had a lot of these set up, and I'm guessing they're for people he was involved with, right? Which I think is interesting. This is just a joke about Kim Jong-un that actually has nothing to do with Kim Jong-un. This is Netflix recommending that he watch The Interview. That popped up. This is a response about the weird thing. I'm still looking for it. I want to see if I can. I know I can find it in here. I know it's in here. Unless it got removed. Some stuff got removed. We'll see. We'll see if we got removed. This is from the Chomskys. I honestly feel like it got removed. More Chomsky stuff. Grant proposals. So that's the thing. The Chomskys weren't just hiring him to do financial stuff for them. He was also donating and creating grants for them and stuff like that. Yeah, I read all of these while I was waiting for my soup. China Daily, Trump stuff. This is like a whole text message thread with Steve Bannon included in it, which is interesting. And they say some weird fucked up shit. They're like, these guys are peasants. They're eating rats, trying to plan an economy over there in China. They hate China. Shocking to no one. They hated China. I know, we looked at Gmail earlier. These are just things I already had open. But I think they removed it. I think they literally removed the message I was talking about. That basically said that Epstein was like, yeah, like we can meet with Trump. Basically, he said everything's on the table. Like everything's available to like discuss. And that was like Cuba, North Korea, and one other place. I can't remember what. But basically implying that Trump was willing to do regime change in all of those places. And that included Cuba. So Steve Bannon, my tenant, I'm going to have to get that info from him later, I think. So it is relevant. It does tie in with this. I've seen it with my own eyes. But I need to find the documentation of it again. But yeah, it all ties in. So absolutely fucking bonkers situation out here. All right, it's about 11:30, which means that it's time for me to wrap it up and start my actual job, my real job of landlording for my sweatshop. JK, I gotta do some volunteer work, and then I have to do television work for the day. So, yeah, do you guys clip that? Do you guys have any final questions before we go? Anything else, or are we done? Is there anybody we should raid? Anyone we should raid? Let's see. Is it a coincidence that everyone in the Epstein files are virulent anti-communists? No. Rich people hate communism and love being pedophiles. Nick? Is Nick there? Jamel? Javon? The first person to put somebody's full accurate username in the chat is who we're going with. Is it Jamel? Jovan Bradley? Jamel? Ah, my alarm's going off, I know. At Zach Cap? Jamel, I feel like Jamel was first. Okay, let's see if I can do this. Raid. And it's just like that. D-J-M-U-E-L. Oh, that would be funny to raid right-wingers. Is Jamel live? Let's do Nick. I've tried to do Nick a number of times, and I've never done it right. So let's do it right this time. Nick Twitch. We're doing it. Let's do it. I lied to you about the first person. He's not live. Nick's not live? He's not live. Okay. Never mind. Do we do Ray K? Is that person live, Malrish? Are they live right now? We don't need to raid Hassan. He's got enough followers. Jamel. Okay, maybe Jamel. Let's do Jamel. D-J-M-U-E-L. I can't copy and paste in the setup I have to show and display the chat. It won't let me copy and paste. Sorry. Okay, we're doing it. All right. All right, we're doing it, guys. Thank you for a lovely time.